The NASCAR Nextel Cup All-Star Open is brought to you by Nextel, only from Sprint, helping NASCAR and Nextel Cup fans get more done. By Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history. And by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. It is a beautiful Saturday night at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Temperature was in the mid-80s today. It's drifted down to about 71. Track still warmed by the afternoon sun to 94 degrees and just a light breeze.
I think that track temperature, that is the key. These guys, this was an impound race. They're having to race what they qualified, and I think these cars are going to be a little free till it cools down a little more.
We've talked about the drivers who will go to the rear. Have a long way to go and just 40 laps to get there.
This is like a great Saturday night short track race at your local fairgrounds or local dirt track. Been out here all afternoon, ate a bunch of hot dogs. Been working on my race car, now I'm going to go out and race and see how it does.
But here it's at your local mile and a half. Steve Burns.
Mike, 21-year-old David Reagan sits on the front row alongside Carl Edwards. He's in great equipment. He drives for Roush Fenway. I said, David, what's the game plan? He said, I'm not really sure. I'm just getting used to the fact that I get in a car, I try to settle down. It's a long race. Now is 2 20-lap segments. I don't really know what to do. Let's go to Dick Bergeron.
Well, the All-Star Night is a night of surprises and a night where good things happen to people who really need something good to happen for them. Michael Waltrip has had an incredibly difficult year this year. Qualified for only one race so far. Pulled into the Lowe's Motor Speedway optimistic. Thought he was going to have a great time here. After all, he's won the Open twice. He's won the Big Show once. But in practice, the motor broke. They changed that engine. Michael went out in his time trial. Backed it in the fence. He's in a backup car. He starts at the tail end of the field. No one needs a good night tonight more than Michael Waltrip in car 55.
Thanks, Dick. Big crowd tonight, and it's mostly, I won't say mostly, but a lot of the folks in the stands are the families and the friends of the folks who live within a 50-mile radius of Lowe's Motor Speedway and work on and prepare these cars every day. This is a home game for all of these teams, and a lot of it's about bragging rights, showing off in front of your friends and your families.
I'll tell you the other thing that's important, too, I'm sorry, Larry, is this is a little test session, too. Don't forget, we got another race next weekend. So somebody's going to take home a lot of money tonight, and somebody else might hit up on a good combination for next week.
But yeah, Mike, following up on family and friends of these race teams, you have a lot of guys that work in these race shops. They never go to a race. They stay at the shop and work, but this is one of those races they come out to. To follow up just on what Steve Burns was talking about, David Reagan, you know, yeah, next Sunday night we're out here for that 600-miler. The game plan is just let things unfold. You sit back and let them unfold in this race, you'll be loading up and going to the house in about 40 laps because they're going to have to go when they drop the green flag.
Getting down to it. Carl Edwards from the pole. That is Steve Smith on the left of your screen. Standout NFL star for the Carolina Panthers. His job tonight, wave the green flag for this Nextel Open.
But you know, Larry, realistically, I mean, it's going to, guys back in the pack here, they're going to have to pull some strategy. They're going to have to come up with some kind of game plan to get them up to the front because this is a couple of short races here. And so you can't really wait for it to come to you, as you said.
And I think when that will happen is at that caution between two segments. I think we will see all different types of strategies. People not even pit. People come in and do 4 tires to play it safe and probably even some 2 tires. I can't wait till that caution comes between those segments.
Regular Nextel Cup rules are in effect. Caution laps will count in each of these 20-lap segments, but there will be a competition yellow at 20 laps. You may elect to pit. You're not required to. If you pit, where you re-enter the racetrack is where you restart.
And we've heard all these drivers say the tire, it doesn't wear out. We don't have a wear issue here. Now, it might have a little give up in it, but I actually don't believe in this sort of race it's going to make any difference.
One to go this time by.
See a lot of the teams that will actually be racing in the Nextel All-Star Challenge. We had Jeff Gordon on the set. You better believe all 18 of those drivers, all 18 of those crew chiefs, they will be watching closely what goes on in these two 20-lap races.
Now let me make a slight correction. In both the Open and the Nextel All-Star Challenge, the final 20-lap segment is green flag laps only. This is a 2-segment race. The All-Star Challenge is 4 20-lap segments. So in this first segment, cautions count. In the next, only green flag laps count. And once the leader has taken the white flag, if the caution comes out, it's over. No overdrive tonight once they take the white flag.
And I think we will see, as we do a lot of times with impound races, comers and goers. I think we maybe have guys starting up near the front that got a good lap in last night, but I think we have some guys in the back, especially Jamie McMurray, because of that engine change. I think they will be going up to the front, and they know they don't have a lot of time to get there.
I just kind of believe guys, though, middle of the pack on back, they literally are working on things for next. I think their thought process tonight is, let me work on my car. This is a good test session.
Field in sunlight in turn 3, turn 2 in the backstretch. They move into shade when we run the All-Star Challenge tonight. It'll be under the lights. And now they address themselves to the start line. The pace car will peel off and will be set to go for the first of 2 20-lap segments. 3 drivers to transfer, 2 from finishing positions, 1 from your vote. Here we go. Green flag, it's on.
Carl Edwards got a great jump on that start, and Juan Pablo Montoya looking down underneath Dave Blaney as they go into turn 1 and made the pass.
And Darrell, I think Montoya, he got, and he's going to get in the back. Big wreck over there.
Gosh, Juan Pablo Montoya, he was just going down through there and really no place to go. I'm not really sure what he was thinking.
He just ended up, he got hit again back there. They're
still the 21 car of John Wood just tangled with him.
Wood, Nemechek, Gilliland, all torn up.
Juan Pablo's car is up against the wall back there, torn all to pieces. There's the 84 car.
A.J.
Allmendinger, he's in trouble. Menard's in trouble. Holy smoly.
Well, this didn't take long.
No, I was really not surprised, I might say.
Joe Nemechek, there's Montoya's car. Darrell talked about him laying up against the backstretch wall.
Watch the 42 starting 3rd row inside. First he makes the move on the 22 of Blaney.
Forces his way under Blaney, and that's okay, but he goes so much speed into turn 1, gets a little on the apron, and the car just wobbles loose with him, clips the back of David Gilliland, and from there on it's on.
And Darrell, you've got a hard tire. They're cold. The air pressures are down. There just probably was no way that car was going to stick down there.
We've seen this in qualifying. We've seen it in practice. Gosh,
Wood. John Wood.
Poor John Wood. Thought he had it cleared, I'm sure.
All the drivers are okay. Gilliland's gone to the garage.
Right there, you can see Juan. Look at his hands in there. He's trying to catch the car. It's going up the track. Makes just a little bit of contact with David Gilliland, and when he does, that spins Gilliland around, and they're going to meet each other face to face.
And we need to add, what he did when they dropped the green flag and they crossed the finish line is perfectly legal. The car just wasn't ready for that when he got to 1 and 2.
Got oil all over those M&Ms. There's Joe. I mean, he's just trying to slip through. Got to remember, they're just coming up to speed. And you also got to remember that everybody's thinking, hey, these guys are wrecking. It's a chance to move up.
Now Menard got up into Allmendinger, and then the track's blocked.
Can't see. Obviously, you can see all the smoke. Trust me, folks, when you're out there on the racetrack in a race car, you are just driving in the blind.
Clean pass to this point by Montoya.
I think he got the tires down on the apron a little bit. He was forced slow by the pass he put on the 22 car, and that got him sideways, kind of going up the hill. And he gets the 13, and then he gets the 21, and then Juan got several of them.
I'm not sure. I don't think Allmendinger, the 84 car, ever actually got hit or hit anything.
AJ had a great run here last night in the Truck Series, finished 2nd.
Boy, look at Mike Bliss there in the 49 car, just sneaking through.
Crunch time at Lowe's Motor Speedway. We do not complete a lap without the caution flag coming out in turn 2. Speed coverage of the Nascar and Nextel Cup All-Star Open is brought to you by Garmin. Don't just get there, arrive. By Famous Dave's. And by True Value. For the right tools, products, and advice, True Value. Start right, start here. Michael Jordan is the Grand Marshal for the Nextel All-Star Challenge. So we'll see him give the command a little later on this evening.
So race enthusiast. I think he doesn't have a motorcycle team of some sorts, a drag team or something like that. I think it is. So he's a big race fan.
There's the list of those involved. That's a partial list. I saw Scott Riggs get some damage. Jamie McMurray thought he ran over something and pitted. So did Kenny Wallace and Kevin LePage. Make pit stops under this caution.
Maybe a special rule for this race ought to be single file starts.
Yeah, not just
restarts.
Yeah, Mike, we had a lot of guys at the back of the pack that had no damage, but I think a lot like McMurray, they feared they ran over some debris and decided to play it safe and come to pit road and change 4 tires.
There's McMurray. A big hello to all of you watching the Nextel Open in Times Square. We're up on the 30 by 40 foot news screen in Times Square, where you're about to hear from Juan Pablo Montoya. Here's Dick Berggren.
Well, Juan Pablo Montoya was certainly on the gas. We're going to let you watch in our monitor up here and tell us what happened. Talk us through it.
It's very simple. I had a really good start, went inside of Blaney, and I wanted to turn 1. It was good. As soon as I went to pick up the gas, just stepped out. You see, I just got a little loose, and I just touched the 38. I slowed down when he hit the wall, but I just went in front of him, and then somebody, just 2 or 3 cars just came straight into me.
So many people thought you were going to be in victory lane tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe next week.
We try.
Yep.
Next week, 600 miles, the Coke 600. You'll see it live on Fox as the ex-IndyCar and Formula One star is done for the night.
Kyle Petty there, the 45 car. He was the fan vote 1 year ago that made it in the All-Star Challenge.
Back to Dick Berggren.
With Paul Menard also just come out of the care center, going to let you take a look at what happened.
Well, I had a pretty good view of it. Juan just went 3 wide right away, and these tires are just so hard, he can't be doing that, and he's lost it. And I was loose to begin with, and then Adrian was up next to the wall, and I was kind of in between, and we all just kind of met in the middle.
Well, it's always a wild night during All-Star night for sure. Paul, we're glad you're okay.
But I think the key there is these tires take a couple of laps. Got to get a little heat in them before they really start to hook up. So you really got to be cautious on these starts and restarts.
I think that's why last night we had 4 or 5 cars just flat spun out, even coming to take the green qualifying.
Right.
I believe I said Scott Riggs was involved, and that last replay showed that he got high up toward the wall, cut left, and missed it all in his Valvoline Dodge.
Well, let's try it again. What do you say?
1 to go. Hey, Steve Smith, does he get to wave the green flag again? Why not?
His stay would have been short up there if they'd have sent him right after lap 1.
He's got the best view in the house, though, up there on the flag stand.
It's going to be around Carolina for a while, it looks like.
Yeah.
Looks like the 55 car is in and got a little steam coming out of her. I'm sure they had her taped up pretty tight.
And, of course, remember the very first lap or laps he was trying to make, actually see Scott Riggs in the garage area, Mike, the 10 car.
Yeah, he may have run over something, but now I see a little damage to the right front sheet metal there.
Looks like that's what they're working on, Mike, over on the right side there.
So he must have gotten against someone. The rules for this event provide for a double file restart. So Carl Edwards and David Reagan once again, and with a double file restart of cars on the lead lap, no passing until you cross the start finish line.
Well, this ought to, let's see if anybody learned anything from that first start.
I would hope so, but I just mentioned back to Michael Waltrip, the 55, as well as David Strimmy in the 40, with an impound race reckon qualifying, they are making the first laps in their backup cars.
The saving grace for a lot of these guys, real quickly, is the fact that they did test over here for a couple of days, ran more than one car. So a lot of guys are saving a good car for next week. Pretty good decision, I'd say.
It is Steve Smith with the flag in hand. He waves it again. Green flag. We're back underway.
A little cleaner looking start. Cars are a little bit more orderly this time. Still tightly packed, though, heading to turn 1.
Edwards jumps out first. Blaney has Reagan on the outside.
He got blocked up a little bit down on the bottom by the 88 car, Ricky Rudd.
I'll tell you one thing, the guy that didn't waste any time in checking out, though, is Carl Edwards. But here comes that 6 car of David Reagan. Right back up on his bumper, got off at turn 4. Great. Oh, we got almost
3 wide as Sterling Marlin is squeezed in the middle, and Marlin just got squeezed by 3 cars on the inside and 3 on the outside, and they all made it through.
This like they've been big right here. You're going to see Strimmy in the 40 slide up in front of Elliott
just gets
Sadler
loose right there, and just, man, if Elliott had not cut him a little bit of slack right there, we'd have had another big one on the before we completed another lap.
That's probably the only give and take you'll see tonight.
Saved yourself.
Stremme had a wreck yesterday in qualifying and did not want to go 0 for 2.
Right now, Carl Edwards and David
Oh,
Reagan,
there we go. Got
teammate,
one around
Mike
in turn
Bliss.
2.
Mark Bliss gets turned off of Jeff Green's bumper.
Contact over there.
Looks like,
oops. Bam! Oh, for Pete's sake. Boris said in the 37 car, just could not get woed up, I assume.
All right, that's Mike Bliss. And there's Boris said, the Huddle House Dodge. Bliss racing for the Paralyzed Veterans of America. And I think his 49 gets turned by Jeff Green's.
No,
66.
he
Nope,
got
up
loose.
He goes. Sorry.
He got loose, and certainly Jeff got into him, but not. He didn't cause him to get loose.
Nope.
Stremme slips by again. Now here's where poor Boris said the car's coming down the hill, and he's already committed to the bottom. And right back up in the racetrack, and there he is.
nowhere for Boris to go. But I think you're right. Mike Bliss got loose, jumped out of the throttle. Jeff Green's in the throttle. Nothing Jeff could really do.
He made minor contact, but that was after the 49 had already gotten real bad loose.
Right.
Jeff does a good job of turning under him.
Boy, Allmendinger still in the gas, gets by on the high side, and Boris said does
Boris was not sure if the 49 was going to go back out into the racetrack.
Both drivers are out of their cars and okay.
See that? You see the 49 wiggle
and walked up the racetrack
right up in front of Jeff Green. But here's where Boris, you watch the 49, it goes down the hill, and it looks like, well, it's going to stay there, and then all of a sudden it comes back up right there.
And Darrell, I'm not sure anybody would have made a different decision than what Boris made right there.
Just remember, folks, traveling at 160 mile an hour, you don't give it one chance.
I think the 2 smartest fellas here are Kevin LePage and Kenny Wallace. They stopped. The NASCAR Nextel Cup All-Star Open is brought to you by Nextel. Only from Sprint, helping NASCAR Nextel fans get more done. By Fram, not just an oil change, a Fram oil change. And by Castrol GTX High Mileage, superior oil burn-off protection for cars over 75,000 miles.
Well, you know what? It's one to go again.
One to go again?
One to go again.
And there wasn't quite as many as there was a minute ago. Steve.
Hey, Mike, 21-year-old David Reagan doing a good job early in this race. He just told his veteran crew chief, Jimmy Fennick, his car's just a little bit tight when I drive up off the corners. Jimmy Fennick giving him veteran advice, saying, hey, just take care of your equipment. You're top 2 right now. Save your race car until the end.
Only the first 2 finishers transfer, plus the highest voted driver, as long as that finishes on the lead lap. Kenny Wallace had a big campaign, including a website, to try and get him voted in. Other drivers had campaigns as well.
You know, just first indication, it looks like it may be a battle between those top 3 cars for these top 2 positions. But then you've got Ricky Rudd back there in 4th, Martin Truex Jr. in 5th, Reed Sorensen in 6th.
I believe those 2 Roush cars, though, Larry, I mean, just watching Carl Edwards, how he shoots out there. Reagan seems to have a car that's equal to his, but they're probably the 2 best cars right now.
13 laps complete, 8 cars out of the race. As we get set for the restart, and for the 3rd time tonight, Edwards and his teammate, the rookie Reagan, will line up side by side.
Sure hope you didn't set up for a long run.
It's 7 laps to the competition yellow. Green flag.
There you see building speed.
Man, Carl gets, every time he gets a great restart. I mean, he takes off. That's going to leave. That's going to let Blaney come in there and get. Ooh,
Blaney walked up the racetrack.
Ever so close to Reagan in the 6 car.
I'll tell you, David Reagan has really worked that outside groove well on these restarts.
He's got a good race car, guys. That car is really good.
That bottom groove liked to have got Dave Blaney in that 22 car in trouble down there in 1 and 2. He almost walked up the racetrack into Reagan in the 6.
Yeah, just like same thing looked like what happened to Juan Pablo Montoya there in turn 1.
Let's go back to the Care Center, Dick Berggren.
And there are 4 of them coming out of the Care Center. 2 years ago, Mike Bliss almost won this race, taken out on the very last lap. Was that a bigger disappointment, or not even being able to race tonight is the bigger disappointment?
Well, that was a big disappointment because we were coming to the checker. But tonight was pretty bad. I mean, you know, I just got loose. I wasn't really that loose, but the racetrack's pretty slick. Tires are pretty slick, and I got loose and I went to save it and then got hit. So, I don't know, it's pretty treacherous right now out there.
All right, we're glad you're okay. Boris says also here he's okay. Everybody's coming out of the center just fine. But boy, a lot of carnage so far, Mike.
And you know, Dick and Mike Larry, there hadn't been any activity on the track today either. So you put these cars out there for the start of this race. Track's not got a lot of grip in it. So that's causing some problems. We got a car in the fence up in turn 3 and 4. I believe it's the 19 car. Got one through the grass.
We have a caution. Yeah, that was Elliott Sadler, the 19 car. You can see the damage on the right side, all the yellow paint from the yellow walls, and in green in the 66 down through the grass here on the front stretch.
Yeah, what was that all about?
I'm not sure.
The 19 got into turn 3 a little hot. It almost looked like he had a tire going down.
Was Jeff Green recreating the famed pass in the grass?
I think Jeff Green probably didn't know that everybody was slowing down in front of him.
I know. Trying to drive it, but sorry.
Well, let's have a look, and thanks to our Fox and Speed cameramen and replay videotape technicians.
See Jeff Green underneath Jamie McMurray there. He's really trying to stay off of him. Ooh, and did he get pushed from the back? Maybe the 07 car there, Clint Boyer, pushed him a pad and got him out in the grass.
I wonder if it's Garmin GPS is working across the grass.
Kept him in a straight line. It never works that way.
Found his destination.
I wonder if it lit up with a little caution flag on the screen. Mine does sometimes.
It's mighty busy today.
Looking for a golf course.
He's looking for debris from that most recent crash. I think he found some through those binoculars. Yellow is the color of the walls for Nextel All-Star Challenge night, and it's been the color of 12 of the 20 laps we have run. As they come around, we will complete the first segment of the Nextel Open, and folks, it has not been pretty.
It has not gone well at all.
And just remember, this is what we talked about at the top of the show. This is where we have the break between the 2 segments. I think they're going to run 4 or 5 caution laps. The teams have option whether they want to pit what they want to do. But I think with how hard this tire is, I just watched Carl Edwards just a few laps ago run the fastest lap of this race. I think you'll see the top guys just stay out. They have no laps on these tires.
What would you pit for? Water?
That wouldn't be a good move.
That wouldn't
Well,
be a very
and
good
in
move.
Carl Edwards' case and that of David Reagan, they have stayed out in front of all the melees so far. So, Steve, the pits will be open this time by. What is the strategy of the second-place car?
Well, Mike, I don't think that 6 car is going to hit pit road. Jimmy Fennick just told his driver, David Reagan, I think clean air is worth a whole lot more right now.
I don't know about the clean air, but I know about staying out of trouble is maybe the hot ticket up there.
Having clean fenders is pretty good at this stage.
Yeah, I don't know that there is a lot of strategy right here. I just can't imagine when I look at the top 8, 9, 10 cars that anybody's going to come to pit road.
Look at that weak fake Carl put on that poor boy in the 6th car.
Yeah,
that was weak.
He's led every lap so far.
Yeah.
His best friend's the back bumper of the pace car. Now you have some takers from
Ward Burton.
Yeah,
you know what?
On back.
They don't need tires or fuel. They need adjustments. They just coming in to try to make their cars
They're
better.
doing that testing you're talking about.
Roger.
Burton, Stremme, Rudeman, Waltrip in green. Kyle Petty, Robbie Gordon, Kenny Wallace, Elliott Sadler are all on pit road. That's a baseball bat. That's a precision instrument to open up that fender, Dick.
Well, Carl Edwards came around turn 4, and everybody on his pit area was looking up there. They were all on the wall as if they were going to make a pit stop. But I think most everybody here on pit road knew exactly what was going to happen, that there was going to be no pit stop, and all by the leader.
$20 laps to go in the Nextel Open, then the Nextel All-Star Challenge right here on Speed. The driver starting first in the Nextel Open has won the event 5 times. We're headed for 6 as Carl Edwards has led every lap so far. So here's the deal on Carl. If he wins the race or finishes second, he transfers into the Nextel All-Star Challenge. If he does not, then he's our All-Star pit reporter for the All-Star Challenge.
Carl is.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun, but he'd rather race.
He has a lot of motivation to get in the show.
He really does.
Well, or he's stuck with us.
Right now, it looks to me like the only challenge he has is from his teammate.
Yeah.
So I think if those two guys play their cards right, we could see them race later again tonight.
Here's the tail of the tape. Here's a punch stat for segment 1 of the Nextel Open. 3 cautions, 12 laps, 8 cars in the garage.
Now, Jeff Green, the 66 car, one of the cars to pit that time, but he's going to have to go to the tail end of the longest line. Failure to follow NASCAR directions. They told him to get back in order when the caution came out. He failed to obey, so he's going to have to go to the back of the field.
Shame, shame, shame.
That'll cost him 8 positions.
It'll cost him for sure probably an opportunity to get to move on to the All-Star Challenge.
Send him to timeout.
20 laps, green flag laps only count, green flag, and Edwards spun the tires, but still got a good jump.
But it stacked the entire inside line up. They were starting to jack each other up off the racetrack.
Boy, I tell you what, all of a sudden we got a new player, guys. The one car there.
Oh, Reagan!
And around goes Reagan, and oh my goodness.
I think Reed Sorensen in the 41 caution will fly. I think he may have got a little bit of Reed Sorensen in the 41 cars. He tried to squeeze.
I don't know, Larry. I'm not sure if he did or not.
Keep rolling here if you can.
41 squeezed through there. I know that.
Coming to you guys.
So we're under caution.
Yeah,
My understanding is this lap does not count.
There's the damage on Reed Sorensen.
Yeah.
Big move by Martin Truex. Now remember how NASCAR scores at caution flags. When the caution waves, they revert back to the last scoring loop crossed by these cars, so Truex will hold on to second spot. Watch the 6.
Same place over there. We've seen some action already. Just gets loose with that one car on the outside. Just sucks him around, and the 41 almost squeezed through, but didn't quite make it.
And, Darrell, I think you heard him tell Jimmy Finning he was real loose on the bottom, and as you mentioned, that car up there on the outside, it just pulls it around.
David Reagan with a good bit of damage here.
Had a good race car.
Oh, and Reed Sorensen, that was no light hit.
Reed almost squeezed through there, but just didn't quite make it. You can see he hit him with the left front fender just a little bit.
He's going to limp around to pit road. So Martin Truex Jr., the Busch Series champion, will go to second place. And Dick, he has at least one member on his team who is no stranger to bright lights and big games.
Indeed, Mike. The men who go over the wall on pit stops are all in remarkable shape. In addition to regular weekly pit practice, they are on workout schedules developed especially for their pit stop jobs. Several of these are athletes from other sports. Jeff Carr jacks Martin Truex car. At 6'4" and 235, he is in incredible shape, able to bench over 350 pounds. He played for East Carolina University, where a coach called him the heart and soul of defense. In 2006, he won the individual award as the best jackman in Nextel All-Star competition. The former Cleveland Browns inside linebacker does personal training for others. Former pro wrestler Mike Houston goes over the wall for Jeff Gordon. He's 6'2" and weighs a solid 310.
Yikes.
But I think that's the movement we're seeing with these pit crews. They're no longer just the mechanics working on the race car. They're athletes that their main deal with the race team is the pit crew.
Mark that down, Larry, what team those guys are on, because I don't want them to get mad at me about anything.
We don't want to say anything bad about their pit
No,
stops.
write that down.
Well, Jimmy Elledge fared a little better in the crew chief race earlier, the Cobalt Tools crew chief challenge, than Reed Sorensen is right now. Sorensen was an interested observer then, as he is at the moment. He can just watch the crew as they try to effect repairs and get him back out there. Now let's show you again what happened to the 41 as Sorensen tried to drive through a spinning David Reagan. There's the target car about to be the bullseye.
I tell you, he did a great job, though. I mean, he could have panicked right here and gotten himself in big trouble. That's a really light contact, knocked the back fascia off of the 6 car. Did minor damage to his car, but enough to put him in the pits.
It was about the only choice he had.
Oh, yeah, he's lucky he didn't get pinned in there and just tore the car all to pieces. Up, 1 to go.
You know what's interesting, guys? I think all of these teams anticipated this race would already be well over. And this track is really cooling down. When it cools down, it's gaining a lot of grip. I think we're really going to start to see the speeds climb up there, and cars that were loose, they will start getting better. I think that's what's happened to Martin Truex Jr., the 1 car.
I tell you what, the way he went around the 6 car on the outside down here on that last restart, I would be Carl Edwards. I'd be a little bit worried about him because he's got a fast car.
Tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by Ginn Properties and Resorts. Jeff Vaughn is our cameraman in the Ginn Resorts blimp. And look who's piloting.
Oh, I thought he was in the blimp.
No, I tried to fool you just a little.
That was a great camera shot.
Piloting from the pit box.
I know he can jump that high, but I didn't know if that's how he got up there or not.
I think that was Tony Rain's pit box. I'm not positive. We'll see. Could be Jimmy Johnson's.
There you go.
Smart move.
Yeah, Robert Niblock, the head of Lowe's, right there alongside MJ.
Well, shall we try this again?
Well, the most exciting part of all this racing so far has been the starts and restarts.
Well, then let's have at it one more time. Can Martin Truex score a win here for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated? Carl Edwards has some competition as we take the green flag again.
Now, Truex spun the tires that time, and that opened the door for Blaney. I don't think Blaney can get there, but he might be able to.
Boy, Truex gets a launch on the top side. But Blaney's fighting back on the bottom in the 22, but Truex will clear him down the back straightaway.
Tell you, you got to be impressed with that 22 car of Dave Blaney. For the Toyota camp, he has carried the banner almost every week.
And Darrell, his car just flew through the middle of turn 3 and 4 right there, picked that throttle up, and he was able to stay in it.
Well, you know, he won a Busch race over here. Wasn't it last year that he won over here in the Busch Series? So he obviously knows how to get around this joint and must like it.
It's a 3-horse race. Edwards, Truex, and Blaney. Ford, Chevy, Toyota.
And then there's a little storm of brewing behind them back here.
Let's check with Steve.
Mike with David Reagan. And David, we heard you dejectedly tell your team just got too loose on the bottom. What happened?
Yeah, you know, I should have learned my lesson the first couple of runs. The car was pretty good on the outside, and, you know, I feel like we just, you know, kind of gave this one away. Jimmy Finning, everybody prepared a great race car for tonight, and I feel like I let him down. You know, I just having a good time out there. The car was pretty fast, and just trying to race the one, you know, too hard there, and got loose and couldn't hang on. But I feel like let these guys down. We'll have to rebound next week.
See you then.
David Rudiman has come to pit road. His chance to win. Nextel Open is over.
Right rear tire down, I believe, is his problem.
Boy, Tony Raines has had a tough time getting through turn 1.
Yeah, he went down in there, and Mike, and it looked like the car maybe bottomed out or something. It just shoots up the hill right here.
Watch the 96.
See if we can see any sparks. See right there. Just took off. Wow. Good thing nobody was on the outside of him, or we'd have had another restart. think there's 2 or 3 cars. I believe that Blaney's car, maybe the one car back there, they think they've got a shot, Blaney and the 70 car. I mean, I think they feel like they got a shot at maybe catching Truex.
But I think right now, Martin Truex Jr., the one car, all he needs to worry about is that 22 car behind him. Don't worry about Carl Edwards because the top 2 transfers to the challenge.
The car that's really on the move is the 70 car right there, Larry. I've been watching him. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get up there to get after the one, but he's got a fast car.
Johnny Sauter's number 70 just moved into 4th place. Here's Dick.
Well, Carl Edwards in the lead has complained that his car is tighter. The guy that's trying to catch him, Martin Truex, said his car is getting tighter as he goes on. So neither the first nor second place drivers are content with the behavior of their race car in the corner.
And Darrell, we've been talking about test sessions. The great thing for those 2 guys is they can adjust those race cars when they transfer to the All-Star Challenge should they stay 1 and 2.
And the way Carl's car is running right now, Larry, I mean, a minor adjustment on that race car, and I'd be watching him. I put some money on him.
Well, they may be complaining, but they are, on the lap chart, the 2 fastest cars on the racetrack right now. And pulling away from Dave Blaney, Johnny Sauter, and Ricky Rudd. Side by side for 8th, Sterling Marlin, whose Pep Boys Chevy dropped back at the start, trying to regain a bit of ground here.
But I've been watching McMurray in that 26 car. He has had his hands full with that thing.
13th place, A.J. Allmendinger, sparks flying as he tries to hold off Jeff Green.
And you know, when I look at A.J. Allmendinger, the best thing that's happening here is making laps. This is his first start at Lowe's Motor Speedway, so he's logging these laps, getting ready for that 400-lap, 600-mile race next week.
And Larry, you know, he drives our truck, and last night he finished 2nd here in the truck race, and I could not believe the difference in attitude and feedback that he was giving the team versus the first few races that he drove. So he is catching on quickly.
Allmendinger and Green side by side. 3rd place heating up. Johnny Sauter has caught Dave Blaney in turn 3.
Biggest thing Johnny Sauter will need is a caution flag. I think that's the only way he's going to catch up in that 70.
He's got the car to do it, though, Larry. I've been watching that thing, and it cuts off at turn 4 underneath people better than anybody I've seen tonight.
There you see his crew chief, Booty Barker, up here in the booth with you guys for the Cobalt crew chief race. Booty Barker says, "Attaboy, we need a caution now because we only have 11 laps to go."
I thought they might get one from Allmendinger, whose car is slow in turn 4, but A.J. is going to make it back to the pits. There will be no caution. Excuse me, there's Allmendinger.
Yeah, I think that's Rudeman.
I am sorry. It is
actually it's Michael
Waltrip
car
that was slow and comes into pit road. Kyle Petty in the 45, the Coke machine, battling Allmendinger. That's for 14th.
Let's see, Larry, on the chart here, Sauter's running a 30-35. He's 3/10 quicker than Martin right now. I don't think he's going to have enough time to catch him, though.
Yeah, 10 laps. He's got 2 3/4 seconds to make up. Not surprised to see that car run well. Remember how well he ran last year in the Coca-Cola 600? Both those Haas cars.
Both Haas cars did, you're right. And I tell you, he is cutting it down. He's going to be right on the one on his Martin Truex's bumper when this thing ends.
That's right. He doesn't have to get to Edwards. He just has to get to 2nd place to transfer. Dick?
Well, Truex has just told his crew that his car has gotten so tight at this point that it is actually chattering. And that's just what Johnny Sauter needs. Remember, the top 2 transfer to the big show. So this 2nd position is hard fought.
43, good lap, man. 70 in front of you, 40 behind you.
I tell you, the car that's really slowed down is Carl Edwards. He's dropped off a couple of tenths of the 2nd and 3rd place car.
Well, he's got a 1-second lead with 8 to go.
But Johnny Sauter has chopped a half a second off of Martin Truex Jr. in the last 2 laps. 8 laps to go, just a little over 2 seconds behind Truex.
He's going to get him, Larry. He is going to get him. Boy, did he get through 3 and 4 that time.
He flies through the middle of the corner.
Man, oh man, he picked the throttle up and he came off turn 4.
Yeah, he beat him almost a half a second, chopped it down to 1 3/4 seconds. 7 laps to go.
He's going to catch him, and he's going to pass him. He's got a car good enough to do it.
Johnny Sauter's dad, Jim, was a great racer out of the Midwest. He had 11 kids, half of them drive race cars.
And he drove hard, too, because one of those kids always needed a new pair of shoes.
I tell you what, he bailed that thing down in turn 3, but it sticks. It goes right to the bottom.
I'm not so dadgum sure he can't catch Carl Edwards.
6 to go.
That thing, look at it right there through the center of that corner, Larry.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't think he's no longer looking at Truex. I think he sees that red number 99 up there, Carl Edwards. Remember, it's the top 2 that transfer plus a fan vote.
Don't run over him. Don't run over him.
He just inhaled Truex going into turn 3.
And look, Carl Edwards is slowed way down.
To go.
Johnny just needs to be smart here. He's much faster than those 2 guys in front of him.
Well, and Carl Edwards is up the track. I think Carl's got a problem.
I think he's pushed the right front slam off that race car. It's so tight.
He's led this whole race, and he may not transfer into the main event.
I'll tell you one thing, it's going to be a battle right here with 4 laps to go. Look at that 70 car go.
Oh, just flies through the middle of the corner. No problem
He is
here.
there.
4 to go this time.
Good job, Johnny. Johnny, be good.
4 laps to go.
But watch out right here now. That side-by-side into turn 1 gets a little dicey.
Sauter will beat him into turn 3 by 3 car lengths. See if they come out of here side by side, and they don't.
Now, this is exactly what Carl Edwards needed, but he's going to clear him now. But he needed those guys to keep racing side by side.
Oh,
Truex has got to go for the win.
Martin went up the hill, but I think Martin realized a lot of grip up there, and he can keep that 70 pinned down.
They better hurry. 3 to go this time.
Martin Truex in second. He can't just run defense, Darrell. He's got to go for the lead.
Well, Carl Edwards has slowed down so much. Sauter could get them both here in one.
Look at this. They're going to be almost 3 wide off turn 2.
Unbelievable. 3 abreast into turn 3. This has been Sauter's strong suit.
Carl is in trouble. His car will not stay down. He goes up the hill.
There you see him go up the racetrack. Here comes Sauter to the bottom. They'll be coming to 2 to go this time.
We thought he was going to get Martin, and he ends up getting Carl.
And now Truex is driven away by almost a half a second over those guys.
You know why, Larry? Martin moved to the top. When the 70 tried to get under him, Martin found grip, and he is long gone.
He did not lose any ground that time, right against the wall through 1 and 2.
You found something. You're coming to 1 to go.
He found the top of the racetrack.
Found the top groove. He moved up to give the 70 car the bottom, and
hey, it's not over.
Found some grip up there.
It's not over. Sauter just used that move at turn 3 again to get right back almost to Truex's bumper.
Well, what they need to realize is those first 2 cars don't wreck each other. They're in the transfer spot.
Who's going to win it?
To the bottom, side by side, over in turn 2.
No, I tell you, Martin Truex into 1 car has found grip at the top of the track.
But turn 3 is where Sauter has been better.
He doesn't need to do anything. He just needs to bring it home in second place. Be smart.
But this is Johnny Sauter. He's going to win it if he can.
Be smart. It's going to be tight, man. They're coming to the line, but I think one's got it.
Still inside. Come on. Here you go, guys. Nice job.
Nice job, both cars.
Very nice. Truex wins it. Johnny Sauter transfers.
I never would have thought that they could catch Carl Edwards.
And I'm definitely getting a report that Carl Edwards' car just got to pushing worse and worse. He has no right front tire left, probably.
And Carl Edwards, who led it all right down to the final 3 laps.
It took us a while, but that was some good racing right there.
Martin Truex celebrates.
Martin is pumped, baby.
Well, he has reason to.
He does. Watch this pass. And this is where Martin just found a lot of grip at the top of the track. And from there on, he set sail.
Makes you want to go,
Yeah.
In 2005, when Truex debuted in Nextel Cup for DEI as teammate to Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jr. asked his fans to vote Martin into the All-Star Challenge. And they did. He was the fan vote winner in 2005. He races his way in tonight.
Didn't need a vote tonight, did he?
Got a vote of confidence, I can tell you that, going into the big show.
Welcome back to Speed's coverage of the All-Star Challenge. Well, it took us a while to get started, but boy, was it worth the wait. Chris Devoda here overlooking the front stretch along with Jeff Hammond. And Jeff, you know, it's Martin Truex, Johnny Sauter, they move on, and whoa, what a finish.
What a finish. I mean, you think about the fact that the 70 car, as well as Martin Truex Jr., the winner, they started way back in the field. They weren't up on the front like Carl Edwards was, and I think we learned something. You can run the right front off of one of these cars, and guys who've got their chassis working like we've already seen, the 1 and the 70, better watch them this next round.
Well, success is sweet, but it's also short. They have to get ready for another race, but let's head down to Dick Berggren for the winner interview.
Well, Martin Truex has already told his crew what needs to be done to the car. It is loosen it up, because that thing was so tight. How did you win the race with a car that tight?
You know, I thought at any time I could hit the wall or blow right front. I just kept turning the wheel, and every time it pushed, I just mat it and hope that it would turn. And it was getting worse and worse and worse. In a couple more laps, we were going to be in big trouble. The only chance I had was to get to the top groove and get around Carl, because Johnny Sauter was really coming. And if I didn't get around Carl, then Johnny would have got by both of us. So awesome race. Good job by my crew. We were kind of guessing on the setup. We were real loose yesterday, and who knows? We're an all-star race, man. It's awesome. We'll see if we can get that thing fixed up and have something for him later on.
Congratulations to his first ever Nextel Cup win. Steve.
Dick, Johnny Sauter started 20th, marched up to the front there at the close. And Johnny, I heard you say as you crossed the start-finish line, I don't know where to go from here.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I didn't think we could really do this. The car was very, very loose all weekend, and we tested this car, and it was very, very loose. And Booty told me it was going to be okay, and I condemned it. So I'm just very, very happy with the yellow Monte Carlo. It's unbelievable. I thought I had Truex, and the 99 got really loose. He was obviously very loose at the end, and I lost a little momentum. But for the most part, I'm just tickled to death. Everything's good.
All right, good job, Johnny. And Krista, he said, the other thing he said to Booty, I don't think we want to make any changes.
And crew chief Booty Barker told me earlier this week he's finished second in this thing 3 times. Second never moved on. Now it finally does. Our rock and roll night is just getting started, and the heavy metal music is next. Keep out the Aquanet, because we are going big, and we're doing it right here. The All-Star Challenge next on Speed. Back on Speed, and it's a picture-perfect night for All-Star Racing, the Nextel All-Star Challenge, and we now know 2 of the 3 who will move on into that race. The dash for cash, checkers or wreckers, won what you brung. No matter what you call it, this is intense. Jeff Hammond, let's take a look at the highlights. There's Steve Smith, Carolina Panthers receiver, waving the green flag.
Yeah, Kristen, right there on lap 1, we don't even get started very well, and Juan Pablo Montoya gets up into David Gilliland in the 38, and when everything is all said and done, we've got 6 cars headed for the garage area before the end of lap 1.
I know, we had cautions often. We had them early. Here is the second caution. Mike Bliss, you see him spinning around. He almost won this thing a couple years ago. It would not be his night tonight. And oh, Forrest said, the wrong place at the wrong time. He says, hey, set heads, don't worry. I'm all right.
Then on lap 18, the 66 car of Jeff Green gets off course, and because of that, Elliott Sadler also got in the wall. That took both those guys out of contention.
And there you see David Reagan in the 6 spinning around, and Reed Sorensen gets a little bit of that on his front end.
But then the race has really picked up there, Krista. You see right there, Martin Truex had an opportunity. He passed early leader 99 Carl Edwards, followed right there by Johnny Sauter, but the passing wasn't done.
I know, and look at this finish. I mean, first and second move on. There you see Martin Truex, Johnny Sauter trying to catch up. He will not do so. Martin Truex wins his first Nextel Open, but it's okay because Johnny Sauter is moving on as well. So 2 drivers moving into the All-Star Challenge.
Both those guys right there showed a lot of composure. The cars worked like they needed to when it counted. I mean, everybody had problems, but those 2 guys made the most out of it as far as getting the wins and finishing second.
And we saw those yellows early. It's like we had to wait it out, but that was a great finish. And if that is anything for what we have in store coming up next.
Well, you said something about a powder keg.
I did.
And it erupted right on the first lap. I mean, things are going to get bigger and badder as we go along.
I know, it is going to be wild, that's for sure. There you see our All-Stars. These are the guys who are in the All-Star Challenge getting ready for driver and team introductions. The energy is just about to blow. It's the Nextel All-Star Challenge, and you're watching it live on Speed. The Nextel All-Star Challenge. You know, Major League Baseball's All-Star event on the ballot. 4 Johnsons, a Gordon, a Stewart, a Martin, and a Burns. I don't think it's Steve Burns, but we have our own, and we have all of those guys and more. They are getting ready for the big driver introductions. Welcome back to Speed's exclusive coverage of the Nextel All-Star Challenge. It's the first time this great event has been seen right here on Speed. Jeff?
Oh, I'm telling you right now, you talk about excitement. You can look at those crews' faces right now, Krista, and you can definitely tell they're excited about being up there on that grandstand right now, ready to go.
All right, well, let's go down for driver introductions with our very own John Roberts.
John Roberts from Speed, and it is time to get on your feet and get fired up for the 2007 Nextel All-Star Challenge. Let's now meet tonight's All-Star drivers. Starting 18th, driver of the 01 U.S. Army Chevrolet from Batesville, Arkansas, Mark Martin. We know Mark Martin's here somewhere. We're going to get him out here. While we wait for Mark Martin, our honorary starters. Starting 17th, driver of the number 20 Home Depot Chevrolet, two-time Nextel Cup champion, Tony Stewart. Starting 16th, driver of the number 25 National Guard Chevrolet, Casey Mears. Starting 15th, driver of the number 43 Cheerios Dodge 2000 NASCAR champion, Bobby Labonte. Starting 14th, driver of the number 83 Red Bull Toyota Thomasville, North Carolina's Brian Vickers. Starting 13th, driver of the number 44 UPS Toyota 1999 Series champion, Dale Jarrett. Starting 12th, driver of the number 16 AmeriQuest Ford, Greg Biffle. Starting 11th, driver of the number 9 UAW Dodge Dealers Dodge, Casey Kane. Starting 10th, driver of the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet 2000 All-Star winner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Starting 9th, driver of the number 11 FedEx Chevy Chesterfield, Virginia's Denny Hamlin. Starting 8th, driver of the number 12 Alltel Dodge 2002 All-Star winner, Ryan Newman. Starting 7th, driver of the number 24 DuPont Chevrolet 4-time series champion, Jeff Gordon. Starting 6th, driver of the number 5 Kellogg Chevrolet, Kyle Busch. Starting 5th, driver of the number 31 AT&T Chevrolet, South Boston, Virginia's Jeff Burton. Starting 4th, driver of the number 29 Pennzoil Chevrolet Daytona 500 winner, Kevin Harvick. Starting 3rd, driver of the number 2 Miller Lite Dodge from Las Vegas, Nevada, Kurt Busch. Starting 2nd, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet, defending series champion, Jimmy Johnson. Your pole sitter for tonight tonight's all-star race, driver of the number 17 DeWalt Ford, Matt Kenseth. The winner of the Nextel Open, racing his way into the All-Star Challenge, driver of the number 1 Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet, Martin Truex Jr. Also racing his way into tonight's all-star event, driver of the number 70 yellow Chevrolet, second place finisher, the Nextel Open, Johnny Sauter. You, the fans, have spoken. You had the opportunity to vote one more driver into this Nextel All-Star Challenge, and we have some lucky fans that are now joining us on stage to help reveal of the name of the driver that has been voted into tonight's Nextel All-Star Challenge, and another guy who has a shot at $1 million. Come on out, folks. On the count of 3, you will use your fan scan, your fan view, to reveal who has made his way in by virtue of the fan vote. 1, 2, 3. Let's see who it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Wallace, by popular vote, is in the Nextel All-Star Challenge.
Thank you very much. I want to thank my wife. I want to thank all you fans. I'm going to drive my heart out for all of you tonight. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
We also want to introduce to you the honorary starter for tonight, tonight's CFO, Chief of Flag Operations, Jerry Brandon. And also tonight's Grand Marshal, NBA legend, Michael Jordan. And with that, the starting lineup is set for tonight's 2007 Nextel All-Star Challenge. Enjoy, everyone.
The field is set, and now we know the 21 drivers who will be racing for you and for $1 million tonight. Of course, this night also all about the crews. They get their names announced, and they get to walk across the stage. That's the exciting part for them.
It's the big exciting part there. A huge crowd here. Get a chance to walk out in front of all these people and have a chance to have yourself recognized as an all-star.
And I can't believe they gave Kenny Wallace the mic. I'm just glad we got it back so we could get the show back.
That was scary, very scary right there. A lot of money out there right now. Almost $12,000 per lap.
All right, I'm just glad the drum lines guys didn't have their arms fall off. Opening ceremonies and the green flag. We can't wait, and we don't have too much longer, because the All-Star Challenge, you're going to see it right here, straight ahead on Speed.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
And that's what we've already seen tonight, and we're just getting started. The sun has set, the moon is out, and could be a wild night for All-Star Racing. Let's take a look at the starting grid. This is how they will line up for the Nextel All-Star Challenge. You see Matt Kenseth on the pole, tons of All-Star names there. Everyone in the field. You see row 5, Denny Hamlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale Earnhardt Jr., of course, the first rookie to ever win the All-Star race. Martin Truex and Johnny Sauter, they raced their way in, and the fan vote went to Kenny Wallace. There you see Dale Earnhardt Jr. He starts tonight from the 10th position, and he would love to make some money for his crew chief, Tony Jr., of course, with that fine. There's our pole sitter, Matt Kenseth. Can he do it from the pole? We will soon find out. Here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, this is what happened in between the Nextel Open and what we're getting ready for. The amazing feat of getting the stage out there, introducing the drivers. That was some time-lapse video of the crews. And there you see some live video of our drivers getting ready. Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon, and Casey Kane getting ready to strap into their cars. And there, of course, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Well, along with Jeff Hammond, I'm Krista Voda. And before the start of the Nextel All-Star Challenge, we are joined by Dean Kessel, the director of NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Marketing. So, Dean, I'm going to put you on the spot right away.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to win this event?
Wow, I think it's going to be a great show, but it sure is hard to bet against Jimmy Johnson at Lowe's Motor Speedway, or Hendrick Motorsports for that matter here. But I think the big winner tonight is the fans in the stands. This is what it's all about. This is a terrific night. It's been a great week for the All-Star Week in general, with everything that happened Thursday night with the Pit Crew Challenge and what's going to take place here, and just a tremendous finish in the Open to have two guys come in and two different pit strategies that panned out. So we're looking for a great night.
Well, it's got to be amazing because, again, Krista pretty much summed it up right on the get-go. The powder keg was getting ready to explode, and we didn't get through the first lap before it really got big in a hurry.
Yeah, I thought we may be in for a real long night, and we still might be. But, again, the fans are the winners here tonight.
When you guys set up this whole event, too, how do you keep coming up with new things? It seems like every year you top yourselves with different events or different festivities.
Yeah, it's really a collaborative effort. We worked, obviously, with our partners at Speed, folks here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, our friends at NASCAR, and we just literally got finished with last year's event. A week later, started sitting down and say, what are we going to do here for this year? And we're already talking about 2 years from now is the 25th anniversary here. So we're already thinking about plans for the year 25 and to see what happens. But it's just a lot of smart people in one room at one time, and every idea is a good idea.
Yep, we got like already from like the yellow walls. I mean, you talked about Thursday night, the pit crew competition. That right there was unbelievable. I know the crews are still talking about that competition itself. And then tonight, I love the fact we got the 4 20-lap segments. I think it's just like having 4 quarters of racing, football style.
Yeah.
You know,
that's exactly the parallel we used in the dialogue to have to set up the format. Was what can the fans relate to? How can we make it easier? The inversion was nice, but it got a little confusing, quite frankly. And so now we have an opportunity to really set the stage, give the fans something they can embrace, and just have a tremendous shootout here during that last segment for $1 million.
So if you're a stick and ball fan out there, this is your chance to really be able to follow racing. If you've never tried it before, this is a perfect way to start.
It absolutely. It's very, very easy to follow, very easy to understand, and it's going to be explosive.
Yeah, it's really easy to understand. Show me the money, baby. Show me the money.
Over $1 million.
That's it.
That's what these guys like so much, is the fact that this is all about the cash, and bring me back a steering wheel or bring me back a big check, and that's basically what you hear from these guys.
All right, thanks for stopping by, Dean. Enjoy the night. We know it's going to be a great one, of course.
Thank you so much for everything you guys are doing. We really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Well, it is NASCAR's brightest night, and enough star power to light up a small country. It is time now to go down trackside for tonight's All-Star Challenge opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the UNCC Air Force ROTC presents our nation's colors. And please remain standing and welcome Grammy Award-winning R&B and gospel vocalist, writer, and producer B.B. Winans as he performs our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night, and our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, home of the brave. Let's hear it, race fans, for Bibi Winans.
I don't know if it was that rendition of the national anthem or because we're about to go all-star racing, but I have goosebumps. I cannot wait for this race to get started. You know, in the history of the All-Star Challenge, some of these guys have been involved in some amazing moments. We've also seen some great moments tonight. What will we see in the next 20 laps, and the next 20 laps, and the next 20 after that? We're about to get started. Of course, the All-Star Challenge events, some of those great moments have come from our own Darrell Waltrip.
Win or go home.
Drivers like this race, trophy dashes. That's what makes it so exciting.
Darrell Waltrip, a hand in the air, a wave to the crowd of 100,000 plus. He blows up. What a Hollywood ending.
The motor blew right when it took the checker. It blew all to pieces.
Darrell Waltrip in the fourth corner now. Wallace comes down low again. He smokes the tire. Waltrip loses it as they cut. Waltrip spins it backwards across the grass as they come to the white flag. Quite a fight broke out just outside. It'll be the finish. Everybody was waiting for it. He crashed past the finish line. And Davey Allison is in a shower of sparks.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go all-star racing, boys!
NASCAR's biggest and brightest night. It's all stars. Pole sitter Matt Kenseth. His good buddy Dale Earnhardt Jr. said this track is not a living, breathing thing, but it does have a personality all its own. We are about to see that personality on display. It's time now for the words that get these cars and your heart racing.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Michael Jordan, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
this thing is big when you've got Michael Jordan, Air Jordan himself, giving the command. The drivers in their cars, they are ready to go. There he is, number 23. Of course, a lot of numbers on display on the cars tonight. But, of course, the big number, of course, is $1 million, the $1 million check. Jeff Hammond, here's how we get started. This is the Chevy race format. What are we in for?
This right here, my friends, is like this. This is the main course. 4 20-lap segments. Green and yellow flag laps count during segments 1 and 3, but during the green flag laps only count during segment 4. So, I mean, a lot of interesting segments right here. There's going to be some strategy playing out. You said it, $1 million. I told you earlier, per lap is $12,769 for somebody to take home tonight.
I cannot even imagine. We've also been talking about, in order to get to that point, you have to set yourself up. You've got to play defense to get to offense. A little bit of football analogy, right?
And the thing we've already seen, you can come from the back and get into victory lane. So guys like Tony Stewart and Mark Martin, trust me, they'll be marching toward the front.
That's right. We saw Johnny Sauter race his way into this. Well, we are ready down here. What about the guys upstairs? Let's go see what they have for us. It's Larry McReynolds, Darrell Waltrip, and Mike Joy. Guys, this has already been one special night.
Well, it has, Krista. The finish to the Nextel Open is something that the first 37 laps could not predict what happened in the final 3 as Martin Truex and Johnny Sauter went to transfer in. But we've not heard the last of Carl Edwards this evening, I don't think. Darrell, when you won the first All-Star race, it was then the Winston. And I've got to think that that prize money was the last thing on your mind.
It really was. And the thing we liked about it was Junior Johnson was big on being the first one to do something. Why? Because what do we talk about every time we come over here? Who won the first one? And it was Junior and I, and Jeff and I. So that was big to us. But there's a lot of preparation that goes into this race. It's not just bringing old nag over here and hope it runs good tonight. You bring your best piece. It pays $1 million. The thing I love about tonight, no strategy. Flat out and belly to the ground, baby.
But there's a new wrinkle, Larry. 4 segments instead of 3. We've never had a 4-segment all-star race. There's no monkeying around with the running order, no inversion. This is straight up 4 20-lap segments. There's got to be some strategy here.
Well, I think there will be with these drivers, because as we saw in the Open, you can't fool around. You can't let things settle out, because if you do, those guys up front, they will be gone. But I think some crucial points of this race, possibly especially with this harder compound tire, is what they do on that 10-minute break to make their cars better. We saw how bad Carl Edwards' car went away. Well, these guys will have an opportunity to adjust. But when that caution comes out for segment 4, I think that's when the wheels will be turning down there on pit road. I think that's when the pit crews will play a big role. But what the decision the crew chief makes, the biggest role of this race.
Time for a Saturday night shootout at Lowe's Motor Speedway. 4 20-lap segments to the Nextel All-Star Challenge, coming at you next on Speed. Speed's presentation of the NASCAR Nextel Cup All-Star Challenge, brought to you by Nextel, only from Sprint, helping NASCAR Nextel Cup fans get more done. By Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history. And by the Home Depot, NASCAR's home improvement warehouse. Down on pit road, Dick Berggren and Steve Burns will be joined by a special guest, but a man who is no stranger to television.
I can't wait to see you race.
So you ladies like fast cars?
Yeah!
Here he is.
Yeah, that was a lot better day there. We had the chicks, the fast car, everything.
Yeah, you know, Carl, I hate to ask you to interview yourself, but what happened?
Oh, man, that was ugly. Let me tell you, I've got some first-hand experience with cars going bad tonight, and I think this is going to be an exciting race. We just got extremely tight, and we decided not to pit like a lot of guys. And, you know, it started out a tick tight, but it was really fast. And as soon as those guys, you know, kind of started coming in, we got tighter and tighter. So I think you guys are right. There's going to be guys like Mark Martin and Tony Stewart are going to come from the back, and Jeff Hammond said it. That last pit stop, whether you take tires or not, it's going to depend on how good your car is.
All right, glad to have you with us. We'll get your insight a little later on.
Thanks, man. They had to be here one way or the other, I guess.
Okay. Well, I'd rather have you out there, but glad you're with us on Speed tonight.
You're telling me.
Dick Berggren.
Well, the driver of car number 48, Jimmy Johnson, has the best recent record of any driver at Lowe's Speedway in tonight's race. In all-star competition, he's got a pair of wins in just 5 starts. In point-paying racing here at Lowe's, 5 wins. And he has a guy on the box calling the shots that many think is the best tactician of all, Chad Knaus. And tonight, he starts on the outside of the front row. Car number 48, Jimmy Johnson. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, this race is about special moments and memories. 20 years ago this weekend, Dale Earnhardt Sr. made his famous pass through the grass, winning the 1987 Winston All-Star race. His son, Dale Earnhardt Jr., was here, remembers it very well. Tonight, Dale Earnhardt Jr. wants to win this race for his fans who have stuck by him in his decision to leave DEI after so many years, and his crew, which has dedicated the rest of the season to getting him into the chase for the Nextel Cup playoffs.
Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night is here and it's ready to go. Glad to have you with us on Speed Coast to Coast from Times Square on the 1,400 square foot News Astrovision by Panasonic, and on the left coast from Irwindale Speedway, the nation's finest short track, where they're watching on the Lucas Oil 20 by 27 foot big screen. We're all ready to go coast to coast on Speed.
DW, we're at the beast of the Southeast. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. Let's get this Saturday night party started.
All right, all right. I'm loving what I'm seeing.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Work on your night moves, boys.
Kurt Busch to the bottom. Are they going to go 3 wide? No, he backs it out, and it's Kenseth to battle Jimmy Johnson.
Got to watch that car on the inside get loose and get into the guy on the outside. Looks like they made it through there all right, better than we did in the first race.
They're 3 wide at the end of the back straightaway. Burton to the bottom in the 31.
Boy, already we got action.
Jeff Burton on the bottom in that bright orange, number 31.
I tell you what, Burton is on the. I've never seen him take off like that.
He got to 5th, drops to 7th.
But that outside is good. It was good earlier. He should be able to fight back.
Push. Look at the lines he got on turn 2.
I tell you, that high line is working, baby.
But Kyle Busch in that 5, he lost a lot of momentum, had to jump slam out of the gas, and he's going to lose 3 or 4 positions.
We saw Martin Truex win the earlier race by using that high line. I'd get up there in a hurry.
Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon. Your front 4.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. racing with Ryan Newman in the 12. That's a battle for 10th right now.
Seemed like he get that car down on the inside, pinned down. He just can't get up off the corner good. That outside has got a ton of grip and a lot of momentum.
7th place, Denny Hamlin in the 11 has a run. He drops to the bottom of the racetrack on Kurt Busch. Makes the pass.
Tell you what, while these boys are going at it, just after 3 laps, Matt Kenseth, that 17 car, he's built almost a second lead over Jimmy Johnson in the 48.
Well, Larry, you know, in the qualifying, he had the fastest one single lap, then a great pit stop, so that car is hooked up.
In fact, Matt Kenseth, 3 laps into this race, he just ran the fastest lap he's run so far, 29.44.
You're looking back at the field from Matt Kenseth. Carl Edwards is with us. Carl, Matt's your teammate. Was there any conversation between your team and his after the Open? Because you got out there and got to a good jump, but paid the price later.
Yeah, no, there was no conversation. I didn't want to go mess up his game. You know, they've been on their game lately. It looks like he's turning right now, but just like we saw, if it gets tight, you know, like Kyle Busch looks like he's a little bit tight, maybe, you know, it really slows you down. So hopefully Matt's car can stay.
Yeah, Carl, looked like that good girl went bad on you in a hurry.
Yeah, it did. It's kind of all of a sudden, you know, you just, you got to do what you got to do. A little bit tight, it's fast here, but there's a point you just can't keep turning, you know.
5 laps complete. At lap 20, they'll throw a competition yellow. Here's Brian Vickers, 83. Here's Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 against Kurt Busch in the Dodge.
But remember, Johnny Sauter in that 70 car just went by Brian Vickers. He finished second in that Open as Vickers battles back on the bottom in the 83.
Six caution-free laps so far. A 7-car breakaway out front, led by Matt Kenseth, who has a 1-second lead on Jimmy Johnson.
I think these guys paid close attention, Mike, Larry, to that Open, and I think they made some adjustments to their cars. These cars look a lot better than those Open cars did.
Carl?
And
talking to the two down here. He's getting super tight. He's trying to move up, but I don't think there's any grip up there yet. There wasn't for me. I think if you're tight, you're just tight all over. But he's trying everything he can.
There you see the battle between Jeff Gordon and the 24, going by Kevin Harvick in the 29. That's a battle for third. But yeah, going back to what Carl was talking about, the 2 car, he's one of those cars I'm sure will have major adjustments coming at the halftime break.
Penske cars side by side, the Dodges of Ryan Newman in blue and Kurt Busch in gold.
I think we're going to see some interesting things happen here as we get into this run. I see the 8 car back there. Larry, that car is on the move. And the 24 car, wouldn't that be something to behold?
Oh, yeah.
But they both look really good. Gordon is close. He's in 3rd place, and Junior's sitting back here coming into trying to take over the 5th spot.
Now, Junior is teammate to Martin Truex in the 1. In the last race, Truex worked the high groove to great success in the Open.
And what I just witnessed, not in 1 and 2, but Denny Hamlin the last couple of times through 3 and 4 in the 11, he has moved up the racetrack to the top.
If your car is a little bit tight, in other words, it won't cut, you just make a bigger circle. Get up higher, make a bigger circle. Doesn't have to turn quite so tight.
But Carl, now that time through 3 and 4, Hamlin went back to the bottom.
Yeah, I just talked to Tim Sparkman up there on his box. Says he's real tight to the gas. They get on the gas so early here, you know, he's just hunting around looking for different spots to get that front end of grip. But real tight to the gas for Denny Hamlin.
This track, usually you like to run high in 1 and 2 and low in 3 and 4 if your car's working like you want it to.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. And with this new surface, it's just really tough. I don't think that top groove has come in just yet. But by the end of the night, it may.
Junior's trying to find it. Dale Jr. way up high, coming through turns 3 and 4. And gains a little bit of ground.
Yeah, he was right up on Hamlin. Hamlin changed his line, put a little distance between he and Junebug. But right now, Junebug's fighting back.
Turn 2 with 11 laps complete. Company coming, Ryan Newman in the 12 and Kyle Busch in the 5. Hello, Newman.
You know, I've been seeing a little bit of tire rub on different cars, like the 2 car, like Jimmy Johnson, the 48. I think the reason that tires are rubbing, they never saw speeds like this yesterday in the afternoon practice session. Speeds much higher, corner entrance speeds much faster than yesterday.
Newman makes the pass for 7th. And on the left of your screen, 11th place.
Yeah, now Junior had just gotten around the 12 car of Ryan Newman a few laps ago, but all of a sudden Junior's slowing down. Man, look at the brakes going on that 25. You don't see that a lot here. Front rotors were glowing red.
7 laps to the competition caution that will end segment 1. Matt Kenseth in the DeWalt 17 from Roush Fenway Racing, now in front of Jimmy Johnson by 1.5 seconds.
And you know, our guest pit reporter Carl Edwards down there, of course, driving for Roush Fenway. It's been a long time since we only had 2 Roush Fenway cars in the All-Star race. We have Matt Kenseth and his teammate Greg Biffle, who's right now back in 18th, the only 2 Fords in the field.
Look at that blue car of Newman. He just flew past Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, Hamlin got up high down in 3 and 4. Mike got a little too high and lost a lot of momentum. Had to get way up out of the gas.
All right, let's check with Steve.
Mike, 1 lap ago, Jeff Gordon told his crew, my car is decent through the middle, but a little loose off.
Thanks, Steve. He's the 3rd place car, 2.5 seconds off the lead.
You know what I'm saying, Carl? You can back this up. These cars, about the number of laps you had on yours, or some of them are starting to really, really go away.
Yeah, they are going away. You guys called it with the travels. Our tires are hitting the fenders. The 11 right now, they're telling us they might have a tire going down or something. It's just started to... said he's getting loose a little bit, so that's kind of different. That definitely didn't happen on our car. He may have a tire going down the 11.
Yeah, he's falling back fast. He's got something going on.
Johnny Sauter in the 70, trying to do what he could not do in the final laps of the Open, and that's past Martin Truex in the 1. This is for 12th place.
These guys just trying to make as much ground up as they can here before we get this caution here in about 4 laps. There on the left-hand side of your screen, you see the battle for 9th with Denny Hamlin, Casey Kane in the 9, just behind Earnhardt Jr. in the 8.
Steve?
Mike, the report from Dale Earnhardt Jr., he just told his crew it feels like it's coil binding real bad on the right front.
And I think that's coming from just much faster speeds, much more travel, getting into corner, just like Carl was talking about.
And there's not a whole lot you can do about that. With those front springs coil binding that way, you got what you got.
Denny Hamlin gives up another spot, this time to Casey Kane in the number 9 Dodge.
And you know, contrary to my feeling with this harder tire, we're about 3 laps away from that caution. The pace has slowed down, even with our leader, almost a second. I'd say pit road's going to be a busy place when that caution comes out.
Yeah, it looks like these guys, of course, are running 20 green flag laps here. And they're running as hard as they can go. I think they're using up a little more rubber than we anticipated.
Nevertheless, Matt Kenseth able to extend his advantage to now nearly 2 seconds over Jimmy Johnson.
I tell you, a guy that's having a disappointing night as we see the battle for second heating up. Tony Stewart in the 20 car. He is almost a half a lap down, back in next to last, back in 20th. Just having a tough night. Boy, you can hear Gordon, little give and take, rolled out of the gas there without getting to the back of his teammate.
He pumped her so he wouldn't bump her.
He passes Jimmy Johnson to the inside. Little tire rub on the right rear of Gordon's DuPont Chevy. And that is for second place.
Man, this 20 laps went by in a hurry, boys.
I'd say so. At about 180 miles an hour a lap.
Man,
average.
what was the average on that?
178.7. Dick?
Well, Matt Kenseth has got a loose race car. He said that he didn't want to pit, but the car has gotten increasingly loose to the point that they are seriously contemplating a pit stop at the end of the first segment. The crew is ready to go. They have gotten their tires ready. The jack is there, too.
I think it's a no-brainer. The pace has fallen off. The cars are starting to give up.
For the first time since he won the challenge in 2004, Matt Kenseth is the leader at the end of a segment. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway, where the walls are painted yellow tonight for the Nextel All-Star Challenge. And the first yellow of this race is the competition caution that ends segment 1 at lap 20. We've been clean and green the whole way, and Matt Kenseth has led every single lap. Jimmy Johnson and teammate Jeff Gordon battled for second, Gordon prevailing. And we'll see who the takers are when pit road opens this time around.
Oh, by the way.
Yes.
He also won $75,000 for leading that 20 laps.
20 laps, 75 grand. Wow.
He's a winner.
And you know
He's a winner.
What's always interesting that really makes a difference on pit road is pit selection. And that's normally chosen by how you qualify. Not the case here. We had the Nextel All-Star Pit Crew Challenge on Wednesday night. How they finished with, by the way, the 12-car Ryan Newman, that group won it, Mike Nelson. That's how they selected their pits, by how they finished in that Pit Crew Challenge Wednesday night.
Well, great job by that Penske team. So Newman will be pitted at the far end of pit road. Everybody's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Except Kyle Busch and Mark Martin. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Strategy.
And now the only question is, what are they going to do when they get here? Is it going to be 2 tires that go for track position, or are they going to take 4 tires and try to have a better handling race car? The 17 crew that's led everything so far hasn't said, but they're going to go 4.
They're taking 4. Looks like everybody's taking 4 almost. Steve?
4 for Jeff Gordon, Mike. He says his car is really loose. He says he's got 0 grip on the tires. Carl.
Ryan Newman got 2 tires. It looks like he's going to come out in 3rd or 4th. They decided to go for 2 since the guys in front of him came. It's a good move. Up to you guys in the booth.
And Carl, I think Jeff Burton in the 31 and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, I'm quite sure they took 2 tires as well.
So did the 29 car of Harvick. He only took 2.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. too fast entering the pits. Each car has an electronic transponder. NASCAR has computerized timing on pit road. And Jr. will get a speeding ticket.
Heck fire, I didn't think there were any rules in this race.
And Jimmy Johnson, the 48, he may be back on pit road. I think he has some damage they're going to have to work on.
We'll find out when we come back to the Nextel All-Star Challenge on Speed. Speed coverage of the NASCAR Nextel All-Star Challenge brought to you by Valvoline. Valvoline, 100 years under the hood. By Advance Auto Parts, providing car care know-how to protect your investment. We're ready in advance. And by Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free DVD. What will you discover? Go RVing.
Larry, Mike, I tell you one thing I'm loving, and I think it ought to be done every week. These double line restarts. Lead lap cars double up. Lap cars, no lap cars yet, but if there were, send them to the back.
Well, here's what will happen, Darrell, in segment 2. Again, it's 20 laps, including caution laps, if any. And then after this segment, when someone will earn $75,000, we'll have halftime. A 10-minute break. Everyone comes to their pit. Adjustments, changes permitted, and then they will line up in the order they finish this segment for segment 3. There's a tire that came off Jimmy Johnson's car. Boy, tire rub, you bet.
Fender rub, yeah, that's just going up in there and hitting in the fender.
Here we go, segment 2, green flag.
2 cars that did not stop, did not take tires on that caution flag, or the 5 and the 01 up there, but the 29 took 2, and he is all over the back of Kyle Busch.
But there comes Matt Kenseth in that 17 car on the high side. He has 4 fresh tires versus these boys with 2. He's going to be 3 wide going into turn 3.
Oh, I hate it when they do that.
Carl, what is Kyle Busch's strategy?
Down here in the pits, and Kyle said he was so loose at the beginning of the run, that's why he was sliding up, and he thought the fresh air, you know, the clean air and the 2 tires or the no tires, his car was just fine. So he's kind of walking away while these guys are racing. I think that's a pretty good move for the second segment.
So far so good for Kyle Busch,
and also for Mark Martin. The 17 car of Kenseth has been under Mark, but he can't make the pass, can't quite complete it. Trying hard.
Ex-teammates Martin and Kenseth.
Well, I know one thing. Kyle Busch just ran the fastest lap that he's running this race, and that's on 22-lap tires out there in clean air.
Did you see what Matt Kenseth did?
Driving away, buddy. That looks really good.
Well, let's see what do we got here. 24 and the 31 side by side.
And remember, Jeff Burton in that 31 car, Scott Miller, the crew chief, one of the guys that elected to go with just 2 right side tires.
That's what Kevin Harvick did as well, so that's not a bad strategy right now.
Steve?
Yeah, Mike, just want to follow up on the 31 of Jeff Burton. They did take 2 tires, as Larry Mack said. Their problem was they need that 31 to turn better.
And, you know, that's what's interesting, because there's a lot of times just 2 right side tires will make it turn worse sometimes, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think if I'm going to only take 2 tires, I might have just pulled the 5-car strategy.
That was Jeff Burton in the 31. Boy, now Matt Kenseth has gone to the high groove, and he is closing fast on second place Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, he moved up, got around the 01 car, Mark Martin, and now is closing up to the back bumper of Kevin Harvick, and he has gone to the top. And all of a sudden, Mark in the 01 car that took no tires is falling back.
I think the only way that will work is if you stay where, like Kyle Busch is in that 5 car, out front, around the bottom of the racetrack. Right now, he's built up a pretty good lead 5 laps into this segment.
Could have been a $75,000 call they made there, Larry.
$75,000 plus about $2,000 more for that set of tires he didn't change.
Well, yeah. Way to go, car owner.
Teammates. Kurt Busch in the 2, Ryan Newman the 12, along with Johnny Sauter.
I tell you, I just believe, based on watching that 70 car, Johnny Sauter, in the open, if he can ever get up there, I think he can run with these boys.
Kyle Busch is pulling away.
Yeah, he is, and I asked these guys what he's saying about the car. He's not saying a word. I guarantee those other teams are listening to that silence on the radio and thinking that might look like a good idea for the last segment.
Carl, he's in a position where what we want him to do is work his hands, not his mouth.
That's right. And not only that, Larry, but that kid, if there's somebody that can hang on to a car on a set of older tires, he's the one that can do it.
And he is. I mean, he's almost below the white line through the corners right now.
This race really suits his driving style and the way he likes to race.
Kyle Busch now with a 2-second lead on Kevin Harvick, who has a mirror full of Matt Kenseth and Jeff Gordon for second place.
Tell you what, Matt Kenseth right now, he's got his hands full of that 24 car. You're looking at him right there, Jeff Gordon back there in 4th.
I know this won't come as any great surprise to millions of folks. I think that's the car you got to beat right there on your screen.
I'd say you're right when we get down near the end.
Here he comes inside Kenseth. Jeff Gordon.
It's almost like Matt Kenseth's car, because he didn't have to really contend with anybody in that first segment. And now that he's back in the pack, it could be the tires they changed. Not as good as he was in segment 1.
Well, I think you're seeing exactly what you're saying, Larry, about the clean air. 5-car clean air checks out. 17 clean air checks out.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has fallen back into the clutches of Dale Jarrett, just 3 spots from the caboose on this train. Steve, what's the matter?
Mike, he's got issues. He just told Tony Eury Jr., he said, our car is way worse. He said the left front is really chattering.
I would say pit road is going to be a very busy place during that 10-minute break with some major adjustments on a lot of race cars.
To have a chance, all Junior needs to do, though, is stay on the lead lap for 10 more laps. Then it'll be halftime, Carl.
Yeah, I went and looked at our fenders after the race, and I think that I think you guys are right. Whoever said it earlier, these cars are touching the fenders, and it makes it feel like a chatter, but they're traveling more than we did in practice. And I bet before this is over, you see guys lifting the hood. I see smoke behind the 24, the 8, all these guys. They'll be putting a round or 2 in the right front.
Yeah, I mean, you just never saw speeds like this in practice.
Boy, second place. Jeff Gordon just put a big slide job on that silver Chevrolet of Kevin Harvick. Got under him, slid right up, and slammed the door.
And right now, Kyle Busch in the 5 and his teammate Jeff Gordon at 24 with 9 laps to go. They're running pretty equal times on the stopwatch, but they're in a class of their own as far as times.
I think Jeff Gordon will just barely catch the 5 at the end of the break.
Dick Berger and Matt Kenseth led the whole first segment. What's happened to him in this round?
Well, the car is just playing too tight, Mike. We're hearing that from several people. Kenseth says his car is so tight that the right front is chattering.
Well, and the reason the first time we've heard that.
The reason the tires chatter is because they're pretty conservative on the tire compound here, and they just won't get the grip, and so they try to scoot across the racetrack.
Down below 150 miles an hour in the center of the corner for Kenseth. Now he accelerates back up and through the quad oval on the front. We call it a straightaway, even though it's not, here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Darrell, I don't think he can get there at that pace right there, because we got 7 laps to go. Jeff Gordon's about 2.5 seconds behind his teammate, and he's only beaten Kyle Busch by about 1/10 a lap. That will not get him there.
No, the 5 car has not slowed down hardly at all. And Jeff's picked up a little bit on him, but not enough to catch him. But I'd be pretty encouraged if I were Jeff Gordon by being able to get himself where he is.
A little loose. We'll talk about it at the break. 6 more.
Jimmy Johnson moving up. Remember, he made that late pit stop under the first segment caution. He just passes Kurt Busch for 9th. Now, last lap. Watch the 9 of Casey Kane.
See his hands in there on top of the wheel, and buddy, you see him get to turning the wrong way.
Car's probably a little free, and then Martin Truex Jr. in the 1 right up behind him takes the air off the spoiler.
Actually, I think, Larry, it's a push loose. Puts a wheel into it, and then all of a sudden the front end catches, back comes around.
Kane has dropped to 17th. As Bobby Labonte in the Richard Petty 43 and Tony Stewart moving up. So is Johnny Sauter. Go Johnny.
Well, I tell you what, the way that car ran in the open there, they didn't do, I guarantee they didn't do anything to it, and he is coming, baby.
And here's what's interesting. 2 Hendrick cars up there leading the race. They have that new Chevrolet R07 engine. Almost every Chevrolet here did, except for Johnny Sauter in the 70, the O-style engine package.
Jimmy Johnson keeps steaming toward the front. He gets past the Red Bull Camry of Brian Vickers.
That's a nice recovery on that 48's part.
Yes.
So
yes,
they restarted in the back, and they're going to be up here in pretty good shape.
We should mention the other penalty on that first caution. Greg Biffle too fast exiting the pits, and Biffle right now is 20th. 4 laps to go to halftime. Jeff Gordon is 2.4 seconds behind Kyle Busch. Steve?
Mike, Jeff Gordon just reported, he said, I'm getting tight, getting in the corners, I'm loose off. I'm real good in 1 and 2, but you hurt me a little bit in turns 3 and 4.
Brian Vickers to pit road. Blocked the brake a little bit getting in. This is not a scheduled stop, and will take him off the lead lap. Carl?
Yeah, we're down here talking to Alan Gustafson. He won't tell me what adjustments they're going to make, but he's telling me that Kyle's just a little bit tight in the center, just starting to get tight after about 10 laps. But he's so loose at the beginning, they don't know whether to adjust it. It's just a battle down here to get it adjusted so it's equal, it's balanced. Mark Martin's saying the balance is good. He couldn't stand it any more loose at the beginning. I think that's what these guys are all dealing with.
But Carl, here would be the thing with the 5 car. Remember, he's not been to pit road. He's going to have over 40 laps of fuel burned off. There's no question he's going to be a little bit tight right here.
Yeah, you're right, but I'm thinking, if I'm a gambling man, I'm going to say they're going to stop here. They're just going to put tires on it, make an air pressure adjustment, and then run it the last 40 laps without stopping, because it's looking good right now.
I would say so.
And Carl, don't forget to pat him on the back and tell him he's doing a good job, too.
Yeah.
Brian Vickers back on track. He had a right rear tire problem. They replaced both right sides, sent him back out. So next time around, we should get the flags for halftime. Kyle Busch leading his teammate at Hendrick Motorsports, Jeff Gordon, by 2.4 seconds. And he takes the caution flag and the crossed flags that signify halfway. Kyle Busch won the first segment of All-Star Night in 2006. Tonight he has won segment 2. We'll see pit stops and adjustments in a moment. Stock Car Racing's All-Star Night continues live on Speed. We're at halftime. Kyle Busch is the leader over Jeff Gordon. Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, and Jeff Burton the top 5. Jimmy Johnson made a great recovery from his late pit stop under the last caution to move up to 8th. And now pit road will be open for halftime. It's a 10-minute break. Everyone comes into the pits, but unlike the end of the first segment, you will restart in the positions you're running right now. So there's no race off of pit road.
And this is one of those times when if you've got a pretty good car, you're sitting there scratching your head, what should I do? If you've got a bad car, obviously you're going to make a lot of changes, but you don't want to take a good car and adjust it out of the ball game.
And we need to clear up what they can do. You can really only do things to the car that you would do on a normal pit stop, but you have time to think about it, talk about it. You can get information from the car like air pressures and things of that nature before you make your adjustments.
I think the thing about it, Carl was talking about the cars bottoming out, rubbing the fenders. You can go in there and raise the front end up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
With the coil behind a round or two can make a huge difference in how the car drives.
And they have plenty of time to make those adjustments. This is a 10-minute halftime.
And I think what you'll see them do here is exactly what's going on for the most part. They'll go ahead and get the 4 tires on, and then they'll get that information and start making some adjustments if needed.
"40 laps of racing to go." Now that's within 1 fuel tank. So let's move ahead and talk about the end of the next segment. At the end of segment 3, you are required to come to pit road and stop. But you could leave right away. You're not required to work on the car.
All it has to be is what they call a stop and go. You don't have to do a thing to that race car if you don't want to, but you do have to come to pit road. And, Kyle Busch, of course, he gets out there in the clean air with the 5 car, and he leads those whole 20 laps. Daryl and I were looking, actually paid off pretty good for Mark Martin, who was not in the top 10. He elected to stay out and fell back to 6, so actually it gained them some positions, what they did.
And you see the hood up on a number of the cars there, and I'm pretty sure they're raising the front of the cars up to try to get the things up off the ground.
You see it right
48
there.
right there. You saw his right front tire, and it's laying on the wall back there. You see that mark on it, and he had that the last time in, so they got to get that off of there, and that'll help his car drive a lot better.
All right, let's add that Brian Vickers, who made a pit stop and lost a lap, did get the free pass on this caution, so he's back on the lead lap as we go to Krista and Jeff.
All right, thanks, guys. And, yeah, Jeff Hammond, I mean, a couple of things really stick out to me. Number one, Jeff Gordon, he's been able to pass through the field, which we knew he would. But what about Johnny Sauter?
Yeah, he's been so impressive, Chris. I mean, since the start after, running second in the open, he's been steadily moving up through the field. At the end of the first segment, he'd gone himself, went all up to like 11th position. Now he finds himself already up there in that top 10 in the 7th position. And the key thing was, on the pit stop, I was watching their pit crew, which are right behind us here behind our desk over here, that they didn't make any kind of adjustments at all. Maybe a little air pressure, but they didn't make any major adjustments. So that car is working pretty well. It looks like Booty Barker's got a pretty good game plan right now, and he's still got 2 quarters to play.
I was watching him too. Yeah, some fist pumps, a lot of celebration too. Let's go back down to the pits. I think Dick Berggren has something for us.
Well, what I have is I can tell you what's going on with Matt Kenseth's car. The car, as we had pointed out earlier, was pushing very badly. They have had engineers and the crew chief, Robbie Reiser, with their heads stuck inside, all listening to Matt describe the behavior of the car. 4 fresh tires have gone on it. Fans on the radiator to try and cool the engine down, and they are still trying to decide what to do to loosen this car up, Mike.
Trying to get me some.
Thanks, Dick. A lot of work going on all up and down pit road. All 21 cars still in the race and all on the lead lap. And a lot of close examination going on of the right front suspension of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car.
And again, I have to believe they're a little concerned about, how much the car was traveling there. Like Darrell and Carl, we've been talking these things traveling so much more tonight than they were yesterday. But you're kind of in a box there with what you can do and what you can change other than raising it up.
Carl Edwards is with our race leader.
Yeah, I asked him what he wanted to talk about. He said that was my job. So I just want to ask you how it's handling, what's it doing, and do you think that you're going to make any changes?
Well, it was pretty good in the first session. It was real loose to start for about the first 3 or 4 laps, and then kind of came to. I tried to high side a little bit. I wasn't really making up any ground. I was just breaking even, and then went back down to the bottom. Felt like the bottom was better for our car right now, and just stayed out there for that first segment. Spun my tires a little bit too much on that restart there, just because they're not as grippy as new ones, of course. But car stayed with me that whole run. Got a little bit tight there towards the end, a little bit tighter than I wanted to. So we're going to try to make a little bit of change here.
Do you feel like you can stay out for the whole 40 laps and still win this thing?
I don't know what it's going to come down to. I don't know if it's going to come down to those guys taking 2 tires at the end or what. But I feel like it'll probably be that. I think it'll be about 2 tires that'll probably win this thing.
Cool. Well, good luck, man. Kyle Busch dominant in the second session here, and we'll throw it over to Steve.
All right, thanks a lot, Carl. You're a broadcast professional. Jeff Gordon talking to Steve Letarte. And, Jeff, I've heard you say you're really fighting to get grip in this race car.
Yeah, I'm hoping that last 20 segment we can put on a good show for these fans. This Nextel All-Star event is a cool event, but right now these tires and this racetrack just don't match up. And we got an awesome DuPont Chevrolet right here, and we're having a lot of fun. We got a shot winning this thing, but we just don't, you just can't maneuver out there. You're on edge. It's like being on ice at all times. And Steve Letarte and these boys done a good job getting us as much grip as we can get. Obviously, we've got one of the fastest cars out there, but I just hate it, right now that we're not putting on a better show, because we should be. This track's got a nice wide groove to it. We're just not able to get hooked up with these tires.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Now let's go to our Jeff Hammond.
Steve, a lot of the teams right now have been complaining about the fact the front fender's rubbing. And what's happening here is the car travels all the way down and it hits on the fender. It hits so hard that it's bowing the front fender up. It's actually rubbing a groove through the center of the tire. You saw that on the 48 car when he came off the racetrack. And the problem is when he gets down on that fender, all of a sudden he tries to turn it. He cannot feel the tire anymore. All of a sudden it's just riding on his fender, and it gives the driver a very weird sensation. Darrell, all them guys talking about the tire chattering. Well, it's beating up against this fender, and that's the kind of feeling you don't want to have running about 185 miles an hour. Dick, what's going on in your part of the world?
Well, that was Jimmy Johnson. The question is, how did this fender rub not show up in practice, and it's here now?
Yeah, somehow we've picked up a lot more left front travel tonight than we expected, even from the test and everything. So the tire's been rubbing on the fender and wore it to the cords on those 2 runs. So we've got to get something figured out up front. I think we're on to why we've got a lot more left front travel than what we were supposed to have. And hopefully this thing will be right here for these last 2 segments.
All right, good luck to you. Carl Edwards.
The U.S. Army Ford, or Chevy, sorry about that. Tell us about your car, Mark.
Hey, Carl. Yeah, our U.S. Army car's running well. It's really a good long-haul car. These 20-lap segments are going to make it tough for us. But, we started in the back. We got some track position, and now we're just going to do everything we can to get in position to try to contend for it. Got a lot of competition out there. It's going to be a tough one, but we have a good car, but we'd be in better shape if it was 600 miles instead of these short runs.
I guarantee Mark loves this place more than anybody, and it should be a good race. Over to you, Steve.
All right, thanks, Carl. Dale Earnhardt Jr. just climbed in his number 8 Chevy. And, Dale, heard you say in the second segment that the right front was chattering.
Yeah, it was pushing pretty bad. The first segment, the car wasn't real far off. We just needed a couple adjustments to free it up. And the second segment, we did some things that hurt the car. Should have made it turn, but didn't. And Tony Jr.'s looking over the notes and the air pressures and trying to make a decision on what to do. And we'll go out here and see what we can get. It's ain't over yet.
Thank you, man.
Junior will restart 18th in this 21-car field.
It almost sounds like the problem is pretty common with what the guys are fighting down there. You know, these cars are wanting to be a little bit tight, not turning. You see, as Darrell mentioned, a lot of them cooling these engines down. The weather's getting cooler. They may slap some tape on the nose of that car and make it turn.
They possibly could. There's your weather over there, Larry. 71 degrees at the start. And right now, I mean, boy, it's really cooled off.
Yeah,
58 degrees out there.
22 degrees. The track temperatures dropped, and the ambient temperatures dropped 13. I mean, that's no wonder the jackets are broken out up and down pit road.
But as I look at the scoring monitor, the 5-car no tires, Jeff Gordon 4 tires, Kevin Harvick 2 tires, Matt Kenseth 4, and Jeff Burton 2, Mark Martin no tires. So those first 6 cars, all kind of a different little bit of a strategy, but it worked out well for all 6 of them.
Jeff?
Well, you guys were talking a minute ago about possibly cooling these engines down, how cool it's gotten out here. You can see I've already put my jacket on. And the key thing may be is being able to add a little more tape to the front nose of these cars to help make them turn. That's the key thing right now. If you get a little more tape on the left front, that may help the car to turn. But if you got a problem like Jimmy Johnson with the left front fender rubbing, well, now you've got to get that fixed before you can stick that front end a little bit harder, which, again, it may create more of a tire rub. You need to be real careful. You don't want to make these engines run too hot either.
No, I don't know about that now. I think if I was Jeff Gordon, I'd want steam coming out of mine.
You've been to Darwin.
Worked pretty good, didn't it?
I think that's what we did. We finally figured out. He had an extra engine in there. It was a steam engine.
May well be.
There's no question. You see a lot of tape on the nose of these cars, like Burton's 31 car there.
When we restart, Kyle Busch will lead Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, and Jeff Burton in the Nextel All-Star Challenge. The NASCAR Nextel Cup All-Star Challenge is brought to you by Nextel, only from Sprint, helping NASCAR and Nextel Cup fans get more done. By Toyota, moving forward. And by Lowe's, for all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, let's build something together. A lot of NASCAR coming your way across the speed networks. Next Thursday, Nextel Cup practice, Busch Series practice, and Nextel Cup qualifying right here on Speed. And next Saturday, the Craftsman Truck Race from Mansfield, Ohio on Fox. Nextel Cup practice. And Sunday, Speed Channel coverage brackets the Coca-Cola 600 in high definition on Fox, 5 p.m. Eastern Time.
And let me just tell you about this little event we're watching here tonight. Every time a 20-lap segment goes by, the intensity increases and the aggression increases and the opportunity to win is slipping away. So you do a lot of things these last 2 segments.
So halftime is over. We move to the 3rd quarter of the Nextel All-Star Challenge. Again, 20 laps. Caution laps will count. We've not had a caution lap tonight.
And what does the coach do at halftime? He goes in and he gives you that inspirational speech about how we got to go out there and play for pride and for who we are. So it's come that time of the game.
But the one thing most coaches don't have to deal with is a 3,400-pound race car.
They line them up, though, when there's about 6 of them on the line. They mount about that much these days.
Krista.
That's right. He inspires, he motivates, talking about the coach, the crew chief. And we have said, Jeff Hammond, this 3rd segment, we've said all along, we thought this might be the most important of the 4.
I think it really is, Krista. And you talk about what you're telling your driver to do right now. Well, the key thing is you're going to tell him to make sure he pulls those gloves up a little bit tighter, pulls those belts down a whole lot tighter, because things are going to really, as they say, business is going to pick up in this 3rd quarter, because if you're not in position at the end of this segment, well, you may not get a good shot at the end.
You have to put yourself in position to make it to that all-important 4th quarter. And as Darrell Waltrip saying, the intensity, right, DW? It's getting bigger and bigger as the segments get smaller and smaller.
That's right, Krista. And right now the crews are trying to make the driver happy. But in the end, the driver tries to make the crews happy.
And that's called going to victory lane, most
Roger.
importantly.
You go home smelling like champagne and carrying a trophy. That's a Saturday night special right there.
4 times in All-Star history we have had a caution-free race. The most recent one of those, 2001.
Oh, by the way, that $1 million doesn't feel too bad in your pocket either.
There you go. Now, this may be the only time tonight, with the exception of the start of the race, where everybody is pretty much on the same type of tires, the same everything. We're kind of back to equal ground for a few laps here.
There's a Fox 3D look at the field as we get set for the restart. All 21 cars are on the lead lap.
Just a little worried about that 5 car being loose on the get-go. Got his teammate on the outside. Better be careful getting off into turn 1 here side by side.
Green flag, and the second half is underway.
Kyle Busch in that 5 got a great restart, but I believe Gordon will fight hard on the high side.
Whoa, he dropped right in there. Well,
Kenseth coming on the high side.
3 wide over in turn 2.
I'm not real sure why Gordon did that. I thought he would have stayed on the outside. He's been pretty good up there.
Yeah, he's going to go from 2nd to 5th and losing more positions.
So much for being conservative on the break.
Oh, got a car around. I think it's a 43.
It is Bobby Labonte.
Caution will wave.
His Cheerios Dodge just got hard up against the wall.
Yeah, I think he just lost it, and we see that. We've seen that all weekend long over here with these tires that the guys have got. First couple of laps are really treacherous.
Now, as tight as they were bunched up back there, what NASCAR will do here is they will go back to a scoring loop where these cars crossed the minute the caution came out, and that's how they'll restart on this upcoming green flag.
We'll show you back about 4th or 5th place. That's Jeff Burton, the 31, and Jeff Gordon.
And just watch his hands on the wheel, Mike. I mean, he's just really fighting that thing, trying to keep it off of Gordon and not spin it out.
Look at Gordon.
And now we know why Jeff Gordon fell back so much.
And here's what happened to Bobby Labonte.
It was a great save by that 24, I can tell you that. And here's Bobby, and I think his car just steps out right there.
Catches it with both ends, Carl.
Yeah, I just talked to Paul Andrews, Bobby Labonte's crew chief, and he said they freed it up a little bit, and it's just the same deal as everybody's saying, too loose on the short run, and it just got away from him. No rear grip, Bobby said.
And Carl, I think that's exactly what's happening in a lot of these cars. You know, we talked about Kyle Busch's car being loose at the start. I think these things are getting so tight on a long run, like 20 laps, they have to free them up to start the segment.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And you saw Kyle Busch with the left sides almost below the white line there. There's a little bit of grip on the very bottom, really low. But at the beginning of these runs, it seems like if you're loose and you move up the track, it's just really treacherous, and that's what happened to Bobby there.
Bobby Labonte has taken his Dodge to the garage from Jeff Gordon, sideways off turn 4. Kyle Busch continues to lead here after leading the entire second segment. That's not a white dot on your screen, that's Venus appearing alongside the moon. Thank goodness it's not a full moon Saturday night, because usually that means a lot of wrecks in short track stock car racing.
Is she in blue jeans?
.43 complete. We're just past halftime. Green flag. Look at Harvick jump to the inside of the 29.
And I believe Kyle Busch is going to be the loser on this net 5 car. And there goes Kenseth back to the front. First time he's been there since the end of that first segment in that 17 car.
Boy, that 5 car got snookered on that restart. Did a great job in the last one.
Clear by 5.
That's Matt Kenseth's spotter. That was impressive.
It was.
Clear by 5 car lengths.
What was impressive?
The call to Kenseth.
What was impressive is they made it. Boy, that 5 car is sliding all over the place. Saw him come off turn 4 with it sideways. Just about hit the fence going into 1 that time.
He's working the high side right now.
Young man's just a little bit frustrated right now.
Jeff Burton, the orange car on the inside. Ryan Newman right behind. Mark Martin, Johnny Sauter, Denny Hamlin.
I'm pretty impressed with Burton. I mean, he is driving aggressive tonight. They get that car right for him. He might be somebody they got to deal with here before it's all over with.
Jeff Burton fighting for 4th. Let's show you that restart again and the jump that Matt Kenseth got. Watch the 17.
I think the 5 just doesn't go. See, he spun the tires and he didn't go, and man, here they all come.
I tell you what, Harvick was ready to cash in on it with that 29 car.
Got really snug right there. 24 got in, or the 5 got into the 24 right there.
Riding with Tony Stewart in 13th. Okay, in 12th.
I tell you, that guy on the inside right there with yellow on his hood and 70 on his door, he is coming, baby. He keeps pushing and pushing.
Yeah, he's
pushing right to the front.
Battling Mark Martin right now. That's for 7th position. Remember, Johnny started this race almost at the back of the field by finishing 2nd in the opening and transferred.
In the NASCAR Busch Series, one step below Nextel Cup, Sauter quickly got a reputation as an over-aggressive driver. He has tamed that, and he's learned to make really good use of his resources. A little over-exuberant at times, but he has driven 2 great races tonight.
You know, one thing I think that's going for Johnny Sauter, he has equipment that's keeping up with his ability. He's not trying to overextend equipment that's not there.
And I think I like his crew chief. Booty does a great job, and they really seem to work well together.
On the left, Jimmy Johnson trying to move up on Kurt Busch for 9th place. Johnson in the 48. On the right, his teammate Casey Mears fighting with Dale Earnhardt Jr. for 15th.
And you know what's interesting? Kyle and Kurt Busch's dad, Tom Busch, is a spotter for Johnny Sauter, the 70 car.
Tom Busch, a former short track racer himself. Earlier today, Governor Mike Easley took a few laps in one of Rick Hendrick's number 25 race cars. Nobody had the stopwatch out, but no paint was smudged anywhere.
I think they may have put a restrictor plate on the Governor this time.
A restrictor plate on the Governor?
Yes.
Okay.
That's like putting a governor on. Never mind. Jimmy Johnson has moved to 8th. He says this is his house. We'll see.
Well, somebody's going to have to prove him wrong because most of the time it's been exactly his house.
They may run out of time, but this is a car I think that major improvements were made during halftime, during that 10-minute break. Tony Stewart in the 20, he was back there flirting with 18th, 19th, and 20 most of this race. Now he's working on Kurt Busch in the 2, trying to get to the top 10. May run out of time, but much better than he was the first part of this race.
Yeah, they used their 10 minutes wisely, Larry. Made some nice changes to that car because he was just at the back of the pack.
The longer we run, the better that car has been. Stewart's fastest lap of the night was at the end of the 2nd segment, as was Johnny Sauter's and Jeff Burton's.
I think you just got to remember something about this whole evening. Those first 3 20 lappers are just warm-ups and adjustments for those last 20 laps. So what you see right now is a lot of things happening out there. Drivers and crew chiefs communicating what they need to be able to go up there and get that $1 million.
Matt Kenseth, a past champion of this series, out front by half a second. There's Brian Vickers in 18th, moving past Kenny Wallace. Kenseth grew up in Wisconsin. His dad was a short track racer. He took to the short tracks and did well enough to get a chance to come down here and drive a Busch car for former rival Robbie Reiser and his father John. That led to a chance to move to Roush Racing, kind of under the watchful eye of Mark Martin, and Kenseth developed and fast and became a series champion.
You know, it appears that the 24 car right behind the 17 and the 29 here, Jeff Gordon, it appears that car gets better the longer it goes. He starts to pick lap times back up after about 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, with 5 laps to go right now, he's about 2/10 faster a lap than Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick. Not sure he has enough laps to get there.
But he was so bad on the start of this run, they loosened the car up for him so it wouldn't be so tight at the end. Cost him a lot of spots there on the start. Needs to maybe put it right in the middle of where they were and where they are now. Here he goes down in there. Now you see, he got a nice handful of wheel right there, cranking that thing to the left, and he's working that wheel, getting under Kevin Harvick here. But here's where the car's working really. See, he's not having to turn it a lot. It's going right through the tri-oval down into turn 1. Car's very comfortable. He's juking the wheel, just trying to get some feel in the front tires. That doesn't mean anything's wrong. That's just kind of what you do to these things.
While these guys are going side by side, though, they're bringing Kyle Busch in that 5. Look how far Kyle drove that thing down into 3 and 4.
But Darrell, you know, you talk about how the 24 car looks now this late in the run, but this may be a good strategy play by Steve Letarte. He may be figuring on staying out when this next segment ends, a lot like the 5 car did. Now Jeff Gordon will be at the front with a relatively neutral race car instead of a loose one.
Well, remember, Jeff, you can't stay out, but he may come to pit road and just make that stop and leave and try to get the track position.
And you're exactly
that way.
right, Larry. But he'll have track position if he's able to do that. Just come in and go right back down pit road and be able to hold everybody else off.
I guarantee you, I know one guy that'll do that. I'd bet you money is that 5 car, because it's come back now, and he was great after 20 laps before, and here he is marching right back up through here. So I'm pretty sure he's going to come down pit road, make a quick stop, and go.
Steve, how about Kevin Harvick at the 29?
Yeah, Mike, he just did kind of a weird wiggle on the racetrack, but he just told Todd Berrier his car has gotten very tight.
I tell you who else I believed a car that's starting to go away here is the 17 car, Matt Kenseth. I've been watching this stopwatch, and he's starting to fall off. Now, we've got 1 lap to go to end this 3rd segment. Gordon may run out of time, but he is definitely slowing down.
Like I said, you don't really want a car that's all that great on a real long run, because we don't get a real long run.
No, 20 laps is the most we've had all night. 1 caution flag for Bobby Labonte's crash. Jimmy Johnson in the 48 keeps coming. 7th place. Ryan Newman. See who beats who back to the line, because that's the way they'll come to pit road. Kenseth wins segment 3. It's Newman over Johnson for 7th place.
I'll tell you another guy right there that they're coming up on the back of is 01 of Mark Martin. What a nice job they did of getting track position and hanging on to it. Sitting there in 6th place.
A Ford leads 5 Chevys, and then Newman is the first Dodge.
You know what we're going to do here, right?
And Greg Biffle will get the free pass. He had gone 1 lap down. The free pass is awarded to the first car 1 or more laps down in the race each time the caution flag waves. In most races, they don't give the free pass in the final 10 laps. Tonight is an exception.
And how he got a lap down, they made an unscheduled pit stop about halfway through that segment right there.
He makes up almost 3 miles, because he was just ahead of Matt Kenseth to go 2 laps down.
Now, under the unique rules of the Nextel All-Star Challenge, this is the first time we've run this race in 4 segments. Every car, once pit road opens, must pit. But they don't have to stay and work on the car. They have to come to a complete stop, and then they can go.
But just remember all the mistakes we had when they pitted between segment 1 and 2. You know, driver speeding coming in, driver speeding going out. You do that, you can forget that $1 million.
What will they do? Dick Bergman.
Well, I asked Matt Kenseth what he was going to do at this point before the race started, and he said probably 2 tires. But just a moment ago, his crew chief, Robbie Reiser, said, you know what we're doing now? Kenseth said, I think so. Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, I'm not sure yet what the 24 is going to do, but I can't tell you this. Steve Letarte just told Jeff Gordon, save some gas, save some gas. Carl?
Yeah, they told Kyle, don't wait on anything. He's going to pull in here. They rolled the tires back. No tires for Kyle. They're going to pull the fender. The right front fender got a little bit of damage, and they're going to stab the fuel, but they wouldn't stop if they didn't have to.
That's kind of what I thought. I didn't think they would stop. The 5 was so good in the 2nd segment on no tires. I think that's what he would do.
Well, let's see. Junior's crew has tires up on the wall. A lot of crews have tires ready to change them. 1 more lap before pit road opens.
Mike, I think with Dale Earnhardt Jr., I think they've got to get aggressive and put tires and stuff on. His car is so bad right now that it would do them no good. They'd be in the way, I think.
I'm a little bit worried about Kenseth, too, because he was backing up pretty big there right at the end of that 20-lap segment. I almost think he needs to take 2 tires. That could be his Achilles heel.
Darrell, I checked his lap times, and as Larry and you pointed out, they did fall way off. But on the 19th lap of this segment, he jumped right back to the 30-20s. So he slowed down. He picked back up. I think he's okay.
Maybe he was saving, you know, knowing they're not going to change, he probably was saving a little bit. No need in stretching it out any more than you had to.
We'll see. This should be the final pit stop of the night. We have 1 more 20-lap segment to run. That's why when the gloves come off, figuratively, and the $1 million hangs in the balance.
I see no teams with tires on the wall. Home Depot car, 20-car team's got one tire on the wall. Otherwise, it looks pretty clean down through there, Larry.
I see Kansas team has a tire up, so does Juniors. Now, they could be faking it.
I was going to say, just because tires are there, they don't mean they're going to use them.
Now, the 20 is up on the wall. Here they go. They've got all the tires. They've got 2 tires up. They're getting ready for 2 tires, looks like.
All right, who's going to hold them? Who's going to fold them? That is the character Kyle from South Park on the other side of Kyle Busch's pit sign.
Well, here they come, all coming to pit road. Will it be a stop and go? Will it be 2? Will it be 4?
Johnny Sauter, stop and go.
Yeah, and his problem for some of these guys is getting in and out without running over somebody that's doing the same thing you're doing.
Kenseth Burton, stop and go. Harvick 2. Kurt Busch, same thing. Kyle Busch, a splash. Mark Martin in and out. But they are servicing Denny Hamlin, Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers, Dale Earnhardt Jr., along with Tony Stewart, Dale Jarrett, Greg Biffle, and Kenny Wallace.
I think it's exactly what we anticipated. If you had a good race car, and your car was pretty good, Carl, I think you did the stop and go. If you're at the back, you need help, you change tires.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. J.D. Holcomb ran down there and pulled the left front fender. He touched the apron just a little bit, Kyle Busch did, but also Pemberton and Gustafson, Kyle and Mark Martin's crew chiefs were talking about what they were going to do so they didn't run into each other. And let me tell you, from here, that was really quick. I mean, everybody just stopped and went, and it was good orchestration by everybody on pit road.
Yeah, you just heard the bad news. Matt Kenseth, too fast exiting.
Oh,
you can see he is much speedier than the competition down pit road, and all of this is timed electronically from transponders mounted on each car. Casey Mears, too fast exiting. That means they restart at the tail end of the longest line.
It was $1 million gamble.
200 over that.
Get out first.
42 mark. My bad.
With the speeding penalty for Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, and Mark Martin will start up front for this final 20-lap run. Let's hear what Matt Kenseth told Robbie Reiser on being informed of the penalty.
I got so busy with all the cars at 11, I looked down and I was 200 over that 42 mark. My bad.
He was trying to beat the competition out of the pits and paid the penalty.
Yeah, and I think it's $1 million gamble. If those guys beat him out of the pit, which the 24 was going to, and somebody else, I forget who it was, maybe the 5, he's in a restart behind him, and he felt like, it was worth the chance. It's a lot of money to throw out there on the table, but that's what he did.
Yeah, we talked about the penalties, and there you see 3 of them on that pit stop right there, most notably Matt Kenseth in the 17 car.
Well, I think the thing we got to watch here now on this restart is that 24 car was not very good for about 4 or 5 laps. The 5 car, the 31 out there, I tell you, Jeff Gordon better be on his game.
Now Ryan Newman will restart in the rear. They made a second trip to pit road to complete their adjustments, and then Carl looked like they did a full service on the car.
Yeah, they figured why not. I mean, there haven't been really many cautions or anything. They go to the back, they've got fresh tires. They went ahead and got the 1.5 rounds in the right rear, and if there's some cautions and some things happen, he might be in a good position at the end, but he'll have to pass a lot of cars.
Well, all right, guys, 20 laps. Who are you putting your money on?
Well, I know you talked about Jeff Gordon not being good at the start of a run, but Darrell, remember, he's got 20-lap tires on there now. It's not fresh tires like he was at the beginning of that last segment.
And I can think of no one that has won more $1 million races than Jeff Gordon. The man has won almost $90 million driving one of these things.
Beginning May 31st, Payback returns. A whole new season of custom rides and superstars paying it back. When you make it to the top, you got to thank folks in a big way. So Payback returns May 31st, 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
But here's the rest of the story. That 5 car, I'm telling you, that kid, he'll hang it out. And if he doesn't wreck it, it could be wreckers or checkers for him.
Absolutely.
Anybody take the 48?
He's got a lot of work to do.
He's coming. 20 laps and only the green flag laps count. The winner gets $1,021,539. I have no idea how they came up with that exact number. The 18 cents are not shown. We rounded down. Plus the segment money.
But you mentioned Jimmy Johnson back there in 8th, but remember this double file restart, he'll start on the outside of the 4th row.
Will this be the last green flag of the evening? Only green flag laps count in the final 20-lap quarter. Here we go.
And they're on it.
Jeff Burton in that 31 car, it's like he stayed pinned down against a 24, got a pretty good restart.
I tell you, Jeff Burton has been some kind of aggressive, but look at that guy on the outside. And there's Gordon. He's just like he was the last restart. It's just way too loose to get going.
There's the 2 Childress cars up there running 1-2. Richard Childress has never had 2 cars finish 1st and 2nd in a race.
And Kurt Busch is flying. He's brought his Dodge into 3rd place.
This is when you find out who's been holding back. Jeff Burton goes a little high down the 1 and 2, but there's a lot of grip up there, and it's paying off.
He didn't really give up anything by being up there. Looked like he was for a minute, but not at all.
Boy, Kenseth got a good restart. He's all the way up to 12th after having to restart in the back, but a long way to go.
Boy, Kurt Busch in that 2 got such a run through the middle of 3 and 4. He's going to take 2nd spot away from Burton. Here comes his brother Kyle to the inside.
And almost wrecked him.
I told you.
There he goes.
I told you.
Oh, my gosh.
Checkers are wreckers.
That boy's got a lot of talent. If only he can harness it on a weekly basis.
How'd you like to be the referee in that family?
But you know what? Jeff Hammond talked about it at the top of the show. An expendable car. You know you bring it when you come here.
Kyle Busch made a bold move. Ended out taking out Big Brother. Here it is. Watch the 5.
This is what $1 million will make you do right here. Got that nose in there. Now they're hooked together. Little wobble, and he's out of control. And boy, he just barely got the back of the 2 cars. He went into the corner.
Boy, Burton in the 31 just makes it by. Actually, I don't think anyone else was involved in this.
And that's hard to believe.
Saw Casey Mears in the 25 all the way down on the apron. I think he actually did get spun out.
Boy, great camera work to capture the first contact.
And look how close. If he just had a little bit quicker on the 2 car of Kurt Busch, he would have been out of that.
Let's watch from Kurt Busch's Miller Lite Dodge.
3 wide.
Man.
From Jeff Gordon.
Keep it down there. Good job, good job.
And you know, they just got that 2 car where I think they wanted it with Kurt Busch.
Yep. Kurt has been strong and been in a position to win several races this year. Sometimes circumstances have dictated the outcome, and Kyle Busch has won a race this year. He won at Bristol.
Probably should have won 4 or 5, but things like this keep happening.
Just barely got him.
Atop Kyle Busch's pit box was car owner Rick Hendrick. And there he stands with crew chief Alan Gustafson. And here is Dick Berggren.
With Kyle Busch. I'm with Kyle Busch and Kurt rather, sorry. And we've just moved out of the way so the mechanics can work on the car. How much more difficult is it when it's you and your brother than when it's you and somebody else that takes you out?
Yeah, I was waiting for the day, and we got together. I was making a clean move on the 31, and then I got a car on my inside when I'm on the bottom lane. And so I was waiting for the day when we got together. We did, and we were racing for $1 million. You know, the tough part is I wrecked real close to the end at the Daytona 500, and there was a lot of money up for line, and a guy named Harvick won the race. A guy named Harvick's leading right now. So that was a bummer to have my little brother pull that move on me, and maybe I should have given an inch instead of taking an inch from him. But, hey, that's what the All-Star race is all about. I just hate I got a wrecked race car, and so does he.
You will talk to him?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk to each other. It's just tough to have this scenario happen out on the track, but inevitably it was going to happen. So we'll see what he has to say about it, and we'll see what we can do to discuss it. But right now, I'm not eating any Kellogg's anytime soon.
Okay, thanks, Kurt. See you next week at the 600.
That's great.
I'll say this. Kurt Busch has matured so much since coming to Roger Penske. He was very gracious.
He is a class act. He
I
really,
agree.
really is.
Yes. Krista?
Thanks, guys. I'm back here on the veranda overlooking the front stretch, our speed veranda, if you will. And we knew that this was going to build and build for this segment. This is where you have to lay it all on the line. You didn't expect it was going to be two brothers that would bring out this first yellow.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Because, you know, we've been talking about how aggressive Kyle Busch can be. Well, his brother Kurt is just as aggressive. I know he's settled down a lot more, but I'm telling you right now, both these guys right now are so talented. Inevitably, they were going to wind up getting in each other tonight. It doesn't really surprise me.
And now we will see what happens next. But, yeah, we really like the way Kurt handled that interview. Jeff and I were talking about that. So very impressive. And what's also going to be impressive, guys, is what happens next.
Oh, it's far from over, Krista. We still have 18 laps left to go.
Oh, by the way, Mike, the gentleman you mentioned, the 48 car, he's now went from 8th to 4th in those 2 laps. Jimmy Johnson.
Remember what I told you at the start? No teammates, no deals, no friends, no brothers.
No give.
I forgot.
All take.
That's right. No give, all take. You run these last 20 laps with blinders on. You don't care who's around you or what's going on. You just going wide open.
So Kevin Harvick, the Daytona 500 winner for Richard Childress Racing, has his Pennzoil Chevy up front. As we get ready for this restart, he'll have Jeff Gordon and the Hendrick Racing DuPont Chevy alongside. Here we go. 18 laps to go.
A much better restart for Jeff Gordon this time. Got off to a bit of a sorry start that last time, but that's a little better. Let's see if they can make it through here without running over each other. Boy, and look at Harvick go.
Like he shot out of a rocket over there in the middle of turn 1 and 2.
Here comes his teammate, Jeff Burton, on the inside.
And I have been impressed with Jeff Burton all night. I don't know what he'll end up doing, but he has been aggressive, man.
And just look behind him right there. We've been talking about him. Johnny Sauter. Gordon gets loose.
He's got a flat tire.
He's all but out of here.
Yeah, he's got a problem.
He's got troubles.
No caution. We stay green, and all that does is extend Harvick's lead. And now his wingman is his RCR teammate Jeff Burton in the 31.
Oh, trouble off turn 2 over there.
2
Casey
cars
Mears,
on the wall.
The 25, and there you see Denny Hamlin, the 11. Caution will wave again.
This is playing right into 2 guys' hands, the 48 and the 20. They're both nipping away here, and the 17 is back in the picture.
And remember, the 48 car back of the pack after that first segment had to make repairs. Tony Stewart was not even a top 15 car in the first half of this race.
And now they are 3rd and 6th.
And Matt Kent's is 7th. And these cautions are working right in his favor.
Absolutely.
First, let's see what happened to Jeff Gordon.
I think some of the rubbing and banging that's been going on, maybe he's got a tire down. See the left rear, look at it. Left rear flat. That come from some contact somewhere.
So obviously this caution was a huge advantage for him.
Yes, because he's still on the lead lap. And the caution coming off turn 2, middle of the pack. Oh.
Goodness gracious, a 25 just went up and run over the top of the 11. I'm not sure what that was all about.
It's like almost like his car just went dead straight over there.
Boy, this is like a bad episode of Survivor.
I gotta ask this: is there a good episode?
I'm telling you.
Well, let's see. Kenny Wallace stops and avoids another one. Let's ride along with Herman.
Coming to you. Okay, you're going to have a spin behind you. Spin behind you. Caution's out. Caution's out.
Third caution flag of the night for Casey Mears and Denny Hamlin. Steve?
Mike, down here in Jeff Gordon's pits, they're looking at the right rear tire. I believe I heard W say that came off that 24 car. Jeff feels like he ran over some debris. Let's go over to Carl Edwards.
I'm here with Alan Gustafson, and Kyle's going to the infield care center. What do you think happened there?
I'm not real sure. You know, it's the Winston All-Star. Sorry, messed that up. We had a good car. I think we had a real good car, a car that could win the race. And Matt got us on that restart, and we got back to it a little bit. So strategy was playing out, and the 2 was struggling getting by the 31. Kyle got a good run and got down into 1 and 2 and touch there. So it's just unfortunate. All these CarQuest guys have worked their tails off, done a real good job. Had a real fast race car, and we've had too many of them on the hook here lately, and we didn't need that. But Kyle went to the infield care center, get him checked out, make sure he's okay. That's what's important, and hopefully there's a good show for the fans. They got to show that too, you know.
Yeah, is that you right there? What's going on?
That was my alter ego, I think. So.
So you've been training Kyle. That's what's happened here?
Well, you know, the bad thing about it is I told Kyle it's hard to tell him to calm down when I can't even do it myself. So at least he knows when I'm speaking to him, I'm speaking to him from experience now. But I really feel bad for wrecking that car, and I'm going to make sure that car's fixed so everybody knows. Sorry, guys.
All right, well, let me tell you, you got a driver that's doing a great job. You guys had a great car. It's too bad it ended up like this.
Absolutely. Thanks, Carl.
And back to you.
Thanks, Carl. That was Alan Gustafson in the 5 in the Cobalt Tools Crew Chief Challenge earlier this afternoon.
See, Carl's doing a good job there. He can ask those hard questions, see. He's the fraternity. Yeah. And when you're in that fraternity, you can ask those hard questions.
Kevin Harvick is the leader from Jeff Burton and that man's driver, Jimmy Johnson. Since only green flag laps count in the final quarter of the Nextel All-Star Challenge, we still have 17 laps to go. Welcome back to Lowe's Motor Speedway. Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and down on pit road, Dick Berggren, Steve Burns, special guest Carl Edwards.
This race always, just when you think this is going to be one of those boring all-star races, all heck break loose.
Little chunk taken out of the front valence on Jeff Gordon's car on the left side.
Could hurt the front downforce just a little bit. That thing gets so close to the ground, though, all the way around the racetrack, not sure.
We're 1 lap away from a restart. Here's Carl.
And I'm here with Denny Hamlin. He says he's got places to go, so we'll interview him. What happened out there?
I don't know. I think me and 25 were battling for last or something like that. But it was, man, it was just a night I'll soon forget. We didn't run very good at all, and we ran a whole different front end package we have ever run in the last 2 years, and it just didn't work. But it just looked like he got loose and it collected up into me, and thanks to him, now we're out of our misery and we're ready to go home.
All right, well, go have yourself a Coke. We're going back green. Back to you guys.
And see, that's one of those things we were talking about. Try things. You know, you come over here with something different. You might hit up on something, or you might get hit up on.
That man would have loved to have won this $1 million, but he's fighting for a championship. So if he can learn something, it'll pay off. Obviously, he learned the things not to do.
You're riding with the leader, Kevin Harvick. 17 laps to go.
You know, his truck won here last night with Ron Hornaday. I wonder if any of that information got passed along.
Teammate Jeff Burton alongside. Not the first time tonight we've had teammates start side by side up front. Let's see how this goes. We've got 17 green flag laps to race. Jimmy Johnson 3rd, Mark Martin 4th, Johnny Sauter, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth.
Boy, Mark got a great restart that time in the 01 car. Now he's looking to the outside. But here's Jimmy Johnson underneath of him.
Those two Childress cars just checked out off turn 2.
They're not hurting for horsepower, I can tell you that. They're zipping down that straightaway, and they're handling pretty sporty too.
Well, and they didn't battle each other through turns 1 and 2, almost like they had a game plan.
Settle it later.
Right.
Talked about him a while ago. Tony Stewart in that 20 car, he just moved up into the top 5, up to 5th.
Well, Larry, he took 4 tires during this last pit stop. So did Matt Kenseth. And Stewart's making it pay off. 5th place.
Well, like Darrell pointed out, those guys needed these cautions. They're working right into their hand.
Sauter backing up just a bit there. That second pack with Truex, the 17 of Kenseth, and Earnhardt Jr., Truex's teammate.
That's a shame what happened to Matt Kenseth because he has a fast race car. But I think as time he gets through this traffic, it's going to be too little too late. Man got a pass for 2nd.
Clear. That's what I'm talking about. Go get him.
Go get him. Him is the leader as Jimmy Johnson has moved his low Chevy into second.
And you know what? He's going to be moving it into first in about another lap. That thing is already on a rail, man. That car in this racetrack, it doesn't matter what they do to the track or the cars or the fuel cells or the tires or anything else. He takes her to the front.
He's caught Harvick in half a lap.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to run right down to him here in turn 3. Probably before we get to turn 3. Harvick drives it down in there right to the bottom, but watch how fast that 48 car picks that throttle up.
But that was so smart, Larry. He backed off, the 48 backed off early so he could get that nice run up off the corner. I don't think he's going to blow by. He's not going to put a Linda Ronstadt on him, I can tell you that.
A blue Bayou?
Yes.
But I tell you what, our top 6 cars just ran the fastest lap of this race 1 lap ago. That's what I'm talking about.
So Johnson is going to stall Harvick for a while. Now he goes to the high side.
Seen this a lot over here at this place. Catching them's one thing, passing them now, that's a little bit different story, particularly when you're up on the wheel for $1 million.
12 laps to go.
But I tell you, that top 3, the fastest car in that group right now, Mark Martin back there in that 01 Army car.
Mark has played his cool hand Luke. He sat there and has played it just right. Got that track position in that one segment and been there ever since. And if these two guys monkey around very much up here, Mr. Martin may be going to victory lane.
This is not Mark's kind of race. He likes the 600-mile race that you'll see next Sunday night on Fox, the long runs.
Do you not think that he would love to go up there and take that $1 million away from Harvick?
Oh, yeah.
After what happened at Daytona?
Absolutely.
Where he lost the Daytona 500 by inches to Harvick.
Jimmy Johnson's got to get around Harvick or he's going to run out of tires.
And Darrell, it's almost like Harvick in the 29 car is doing whatever he has to do to run whatever speed to keep that thing right on the white line. If Johnson goes around him, it will have to be on the high side.
He's got to look here. He's going to get a look under him, but he just can't get off that corner with him. Got a little bit loose that time after coming off the bottom over there. Yeah, you're right, Larry. I think if he's going to make the pass, he's going to have to sail around on the outside.
Well, there'll be 9 to go this time. Here they come.
But here, then Harvick can't push up very much now. If he opens that bottom up off the corner, that's where Jimmy Johnson's waiting for him. Jimmy's laying off of him, getting in so he can get that big run off. And Mark Martin may just slip around the outside of both these cats. Now, I'm telling you, he's laying in there looking good.
Well, he's got a cushion. Why not try the high side? No need just following their tire tracks.
And you know that the spotter is telling Jimmy, hey, watch that 01 on the outside.
Now, will the 01, being that close to the 48, loosen up Johnson's car?
If he gets up under the back of him, he will.
But, Darrell, you're right. That 29 car, that new Chevy R07, they got some steam under the hood of that thing.
That thing jumps up off the corner now, and you know that 48 isn't hurting for power. And Harvick now looks to me like he's starting to open up a little bit here, guys.
Yeah, he was almost 2/10 faster than Johnson that lap. Mark Martin right in between them as far as the stopwatch.
I think what Jimmy's trying to do is trying to get back and get a run on him so he can try to get under him coming off the corner, because apparently he's just not going to go on the outside.
Our top 3 cars then all within a half a tenth of each other.
Tell you one thing, Jimmy Johnson is driving that 48 down in there. He was sideways getting into 1 that time.
And he got a pretty good run off turn 2 that time.
He did, Larry, but he didn't gain except right at the end of the straightaway on Harvick.
I think he's trying to set him up. That's what he's trying to do. See how he makes that run through the center? But he can't get under and getting off. But if he times it right, he might be able to get it back and get a run and get under and getting off.
Now, Harvick had a big wiggle coming off turn 4.
I think all these guys are using up everything they got.
6 laps to go.
See, right here, he can't, if he can time it right, if Jimmy Johnson can time it right, he can get that big steam off the corner and maybe get up under him. If he ever does, he's got him.
3, 5 to go this time. Bye.
See how he lays out. Now, here he comes. Here he comes. Maybe if Harvick pushes up, I can get under him. Nope, not going to happen.
Darrell, it's almost settling in here for one of those Lowe's Motor Speedway finishes, though. 5 to go.
The only thing I can think of is if Mark Martin ever got a nice run and he could jump to the outside, the only thing he could do then would be help Harvick win the race, but he might be able to get by Jimmy Johnson.
Well, this is starting to look like the finish of the Nextel Open. where 3 cars all converge together. And who will prevail? It'll be 4 to go when they cross the stripe.
There's the 2 crew chiefs, Chad Knaus on the left, Jimmy Johnson, Todd Berrier on the right with Kevin Harvick. 4 to go.
You know, Richard Childress is having a pretty nice weekend, isn't he?
First and fourth right now with Harvick and Burton. And earlier this week, Childress announced an engine building alliance with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated.
This thing, they pretty well decided this is the way it's going to finish, look to me like.
3 to go.
Nobody's making any gains now. Mark's falling back. I think Jimmy's still got some hope, but he's going to have to pull something. He's going to have to pull a rabbit out of that Lowe's hat.
He's going to have to do it in a hurry here.
Looks like he's gotten a little tight off now.
No pressure now.
Kevin Harvick has the second fastest lap of the race. Jimmy Johnson has the quickest.
Dead even. Keep doing it. Got 2 more times, man. Bite the steering wheel.
Bite the steering wheel.
Kevin Harvick spotter, Billy O'Day.
No change. 0.3 of a second separates $1 million from whatever second place.
Pulled him off that corner. Good job.
Oh, yeah. Harvick is so good right now. The car, watch it go down in the corner. Look at where the left side tires are.
He's
Below
really
the white line.
Richard Childress.
Come on, we got 1 more time. 1 more time.
Childress has 3 wins in the All-Star race, all with Dale Earnhardt behind the wheel. 1987, 1990, and 93. That's 14 years.
He moved to the center, and you're about that
Jimmy
even
Johnson
right there.
moved it up a little bit through 1 and 2
to
that
beat him
time.
down here.
If he can go the outside, if he can get to the outside of Harvick, it could be big, guys.
There he goes.
Here
He's
he
on the
comes.
outside. Here he
He's
comes.
there.
Checkers or wreckers.
Couldn't make it.
Couldn't
Johnson
get it done.
crosses under. Kevin Harvick wins the Nextel All-Star Challenge.
He was setting it up for
He
that
had a
one
plan.
shot.
Yeah, he had a plan, Larry. It almost worked.
Well, you know what? A year ago, Kevin Harvick finished second in this race. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. They'll know he won it tonight, though.
Great job by that whole Childress bunch, man. Power under the hood. Good handling race car.
Man, Harvey caught your breath yet.
That's Richard Childress.
That's Richard.
It's been 14 years since Childress
buddy, you just a man, I'm telling you.
went to All-Star Victory Lane. Hey, Carl Edwards, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you having us tonight and having you on board. Wish you could have been in the race, but glad to have you with us. Carl has left the building. Well, thanks, Carl.
You'll hear the thanks when they do the re-air.
There you go. For Jimmy Johnson, 14/100ths of a second separated him from first place. Mark Martin 8/10 back. Jeff Burton fourth. Tony Stewart, a nice recovery for fifth. Johnny Sauter had a great night, ending up sixth. Matt Kenseth got all the way back up the board to seventh. Ryan Newman, after that late pit stop, climbed to eighth. And the 2 DEI cars, after a tough night, ended up in the top 10. Dale Earnhardt Jr. 9th and Martin Truex 10th. 11th to Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, the highest finishing Toyota, 12th. Brian Vickers 13th, Casey Kane 14th, and Greg Biffle and Kenny Wallace. While these drivers ended up in the garage, Denny Hamlin, Casey Mears, the Busch brothers, and Bobby Labonte.
Well, Kevin Harvick may not be having the season he's been looking for so far, but he's won the $2 million races, the Daytona 500, and now the Nextel All-Star Challenge.
Ka-ching. Kevin Harvick scores his first Nextel All-Star Challenge win in 7 appearances. We've got interviews and lots more for you, thanks to those of you watching Speed Coast to Coast from Times Square in New York to Irwindale Speedway in California, where they have a regular Saturday night NASCAR Whelen Weekly Racing Series program. And here's Dick Bergman.
Well, Jimmy Johnson, a great run finishing second, but you needed a little bit more there at the end of the race. Where did you need more out of this car?
Well, we got off to a rough start tonight. We had a problem with the left front rubbing, and we had to work that out. And then we were just kind of behind, but I'm still proud of the guys. Made some great adjustments through the pit stops and really got the car right at the end. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of track position throughout the day, but we still passed a lot of cars and came off the close.
Nice job. Jimmy Johnson in second place tonight.
It'll be a while before Kevin Harvick makes his way to victory lane, because they bring victory lane out in front of the fans for this event, right out to the front straightaway. So it'll be a minute. An exciting night, a great open, a wild all-star challenge as usual. The Busch Brothers next holiday dinner will be an interesting one. But, you know, like Kurt said, it was going to happen sooner or later because they're both very competitive. They both run up front. I guess if it had to happen, good thing it was in a non-points race.
Oh, I totally agree. But it's a shame for Kurt and Kyle both, because they had good race cars, winning race cars. Unfortunate for them to take themselves out like that.
Larry, I like this 4 quarters format because it does lead to interesting strategy. We used to say go as fast as you can, as long as you can. That's the strategy. But now it's different.
Oh, I love it because, you know, we don't have that invert. We know if you go up there and you run up front, you're going to be able to stay up front. They're not going to put you halfway back in the pack. And I love the fact of what NASCAR, Nextel, they've done with that caution between segment 3 and 4. You have to pit, but they won't tell you what you have to do. I thought that made it very interesting as well.
I think the format is a winner, and Kevin Harvick is a winner tonight. Steve Burns is in victory lane.
And Mike, Kevin Harvick climbs out of that hot rod $1 million wealthier. And it's an emotional Kevin Harvick. Now, Kevin, you've won some big races in your career. How does this one stack up?
Well, I tell you, this Pennzoil Platinum Chevrolet was, you know, it was really good all night. We were terrible down here at the test, and these guys decided to bring back a different car, the car we raced last year, and to win the All-Star race is just a lot of fun. So Jimmy and I raced hard, and he taught me a little something there. Getting into turn 3, I was way overdriving it. Once I backed up, she told me I was going to win. Last week, she told me, she said, you're going to win the race. So it's just got to thank everybody on this car, Shell, Reese's, Team Realtree, Road Loans, Sherwin-Williams, Emerson, SKF, Coca-Cola, Snap-on, Champion, everybody. All these guys on this team, I mean, to win a Daytona 500 and the All-Star race, that's pretty cool.
Kevin, what is your strategy to keep the 48 Jimmy Johnson behind you?
Thanks, man. That was awesome. That was awesome. It's, you know, I wanted to stay in his tracks, and then he moved up to the middle and wasn't as good. And once I really started backing that corner up, I mean, I just had a really good grip up off and was able to stay out in front. So it's a great race.
Delana, why did you think your husband was going to win this race?
I don't know. I just felt it, and he did.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thanks.
Well, if you're looking for someone to take a loan from, I guess Kevin Harvick would be the guy. $1 million tonight. Of course, he won the Daytona 500, the biggest purse of our regular races. So, Kevin Harvick, the pocketbook is looking pretty good for him.
Looking pretty good. I mean, the thing is so interesting about when you start studying how this thing kind of played out tonight, that car was so consistent. Started 4th. Every time a segment ended, he was either 4th or 3rd, and eventually in that final segment, he got the lead and never looked back.
And something else about the money, Kevin Harvick did say earlier this week, if he were to win this race, he was going to share the $1 million with his crew. Very impressive. Of course, another impressive driver tonight is standing by with Dick Bergeron.
Mark Martin, a really strong run here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Did you have fun tonight?
Oh, it's a blast, man. It's an honor to represent all our soldiers and to drive, you know, the U.S. Army's race car. Ryan Pemberton and this team gave me a shot to win this thing. And, you know, with 10 to go, we were nose to tail, the 3 of us, and you know, I searched for everything. I ran the high groove, which is not normal for me, and we were, you know, it was any of our race right there at that point. With about 3 to go, I had, you know, pretty much used my right front up and kind of fell off there. But man, you know, it was a good race, even though we weren't swapping the lead back and forth. You know, it could have been any of the 3 of us, I think, there.
At the end of the race, you stuck your head inside Jimmy Johnson's window and talked with him. What was the conversation?
I told him he was one hell of a race car driver.
So are you. Congratulations on a great run.
High praise from a high-class driver. And there's our unofficial results tonight with the money payout as well. Of course, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Hammond, is our big winner.
That's $1 million right there. Looks pretty impressive right there, as you've already talked about what went on with Daytona. But Jimmy Johnson, not a bad night for him. We talked about Mark Martin and how he ran. It's good to see him come back up there and challenge as hard as he did against these 2.
And there you see the fan vote winners, your segment 2 winners also designated there as well. Jeff Gordon ends up finishing 11th tonight.
And you look at the very bottom of that, you see Kurt Busch and Kyle Busch. They got to be very disappointed because, again, Kyle Busch won segment 2. But also when you saw Jeff Gordon, you had that problem, you know, with the left rear tire, took him out of contention. He may have been a factor also.
Well, it's been a wild night. Let's go ahead and recap from the very beginning what has happened here at Lowe's Motor Speedway this evening. This is the Open, and what a finish we had. There you see Carl Edwards. He had been on the pole, but it was Johnny Sauter who passes him there. Martin Truex, Jeff, would go on to win the Open.
Yeah, he gets his transfer right there, but early on it was Matt Kenseth that started on the pole, won the first segment. But Kyle Busch stays out on the second segment, leads every lap, and was able to hang on. But in the start of the third, all of a sudden Kyle Busch, he spins his tire, doesn't get the start he needed, and we started having a lot more, I guess you might say, controversy from that point on. Matt Kenseth looked strong, but he did finally eventually had a little bit of issue right there when he got caught speeding out of pit road.
That's right. He was caught speeding on pit road. Here you see the big wreck. This is the Busch brothers. Kyle tries to take some real estate away from Kurt, and there's nothing there for him. Both Busch brothers wreck out.
As we said earlier, no give, no take, but tonight it was all take by Kevin Harvick right there in that 29 car.
And what's so impressive, it's been a great weekend for Kevin Harvick. I think the guys mentioned earlier that his truck driver, Ron Hornaday, won the truck race here last night. Kevin Harvick goes on to win his very first Nextel All-Star Challenge. He actually led segment 2 last year, but the thing about this race, it doesn't matter what segment you lead unless it's the last one, and nobody remembers who finishes second, third, or fourth. It's all about the win.
It's all about the win, and again, I think we had a great night of racing. It was an awesome opportunity for a lot of these guys to get into this All-Star Challenge race. The Open was going on. Looked like Carl Edwards early on was going to be the guy to beat, but in the end it was Martin Truex Jr. and Johnny Sauter. And let's don't forget, Kenny Wallace was able to win the fan vote and get in this race tonight.
That's right, and of course, lessons learned for next week. We will be back in Charlotte. The drivers will continue, and this one much different. Instead of a short sprint, it's going to be a long endurance race. The 600-miler. There you see the schedule for Lowe's Motor Speedway and the Coca-Cola 600. Of course, tonight was all about the stars, the Nextel Cup stars. The stars were on the track. It was a wonderful night for racing, for all-star racing. The planets aligned, though, for Kevin Harvick, the 2007 NASCAR Nextel All-Star Challenge winner, his very first All-Star Challenge win. We thank you for watching and being part of this historic night for Speed Channel. We're going to do it all again next year. We'll see you then.